Hello folks and welcome to episode 10 of the Plotcast podcast with me, Tom.
And Dan.
And this fuck!
And this fuck, we're looking at Johnny Mnemonic.
That's the one. So when the film begins, we get the classic TriStar logo, followed by a text crawl very reminiscent of Total Recall, I thought. If I remember, the music was a bit Total Recall-y as well. Obviously nowhere near as a...
That's what the actual mnemonic text.
Yeah, this is the starting crawl, which sets up the plot, which I'll read to you now. Hold on to your socks. Second decade of the 21st century, corporations rule. The world is threatened by a new plague, NAS, nerve attenuation syndrome. Fatal epidemic. Its cause and cure unknown. The corporations are opposed by the Low-Techs, a resistance movement risen from the streets, hackers, data pirates, guerrilla fighters, in the info wars. The corporations defend themselves. They hire the Yakuza, the most powerful of all crime syndicates. They sheath their data in black ice, lethal viruses, waiting to burn the brains of intruders. But the Low-Techs wait in their strongholds. In the old city cores, like rats in the walls of the world.
Of the world.
Sorry, I had to scroll down for that bit.
It is a long little bit of text.
There's only a little bit left. The most valuable information must sometimes be entrusted to the mnemonic couriers, elite agents who smuggle data in wet-wired brain implants. Wet-wired? That sounds awfully dangerous.
It's...
A Sparky will always tell you not to wet your wires.
Yeah.
So after all that text, we get a shot of the internet 2021, which is only 3 years away now.
There we go.
I never thought we'd make it here.
And it's what looks to be sort of a street view initially, and as we've discussed, it looks a bit like the Fifth Element intro kind of thing, looking down, seeing all the flying cars zooming about, and it takes a minute there, and you realise that what we're looking at is actually a digital landscape. And it's not physical, and we're looking at the inside of the internet.
Yeah, it's full of adverts, it's full of flying text and fast lights zipping around. It's very very early 3D rendering, like the early cartoons such as Reboot.
Yeah.
I think it kind of it zips and zooms around, and we end up coming out of Keanu Reeves' eyeball, I think is where it...
Well, we follow the information that tracks to his alarm clock or wake up.
Oh, is it his alarm clock first?
Yeah. So, what we do is we see him in the foreground. We're zooming through the wires to reach his bed, and we do get a close up of his eye, but we don't come out of his eye.
We don't come out. Yeah, well, yes.
We come out of the screen, which is his wake up call.
It's at 10:30 a.m.
Yeah.
In the New Darwin Inn. And the local temperature is 29 degrees centigrade. Very important.
Indeed. It's precise scene setting. And what we see is Keanu. It's Keanu Reeves playing Johnny, the titular character, which I like to say because it has the word tit in it.
I do like to say titular. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah. And he wakes up, turns off his call, and again he's lying on these green satiny silky sheets,
sleazy bed
in the sleazy motel room with the sleazy woman who walks out of the bathroom and picks up her sleazy knickers off the catering tray that's been left from
the unhygienic placement of her knickers over a napkin. Did you say it was next to some
pickled onions?
Yeah. I'm glad that in the future pickled onions are still a thing.
I'm glad they made the cut. Yeah.
I mean, it's only 3 years in the future. I'm pretty sure I've got a jar of pickled onions that will last that long anyway. So we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he switches on the telly and he checks his messages. Yeah. And he's got no new messages.
He flicks through the channels and we hear a little blurb about what we've just heard about in the intro there, NAS, and what's how that's affecting people. A little bit of backstory there.
It's something to do with GeoSync.
Yeah.
I didn't write down the context of that. I imagine it's some sort of company or how it's affecting people.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously this, let's call her an escort call girl, because she's clearly not really. She doesn't give a shit about him.
Yeah, she's not his business colleague.
No, and she's off out. She's sort of getting ready, and for some reason there's a weird bit of dialogue where she says, "Where's home, Johnny?" And he says, "Would you believe I don't know?" And she goes, Yeah, actually, yeah.
That sums you up perfectly, Johnny. See you later.
Yeah. And she says, right, I'm going out to get some ice.
And he's like, we've got ice.
And
But she's already gone.
She's gone.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Johnny. She's gone.
But I mean, 10:30 in the morning to be wanting to carry on drinking the champagne.
Yeah.
That's I think how Johnny's got a few issues he needs to resolve before he calls her back again.
Especially when he's going to have his breakfast of pickled onions and pants. But he sort of slumps down when she's gone, and he sort of reaches over and dials up on the TV. And it's calls Ralphie Boy.
Ralphie Boy. Pick it up, Ralphie. How about it, Ralphie? Actual dialogue.
Yeah.
And then, because it's the future, it's a video phone.
Yeah.
We see our best friend Udo Kier. He turns up because it's a sci-fi film. It's got to be Udo Kier.
I like that the screen he's on here just reminds me of a microwave as well. I'm not too sure why. I think it's the buttons on the side.
Well, he always looks a bit sweaty and swollen, like he's been in the microwave.
Yeah.
So it very well may be that.
And there's something about his face here as well. How it's like the Red Dwarf hologram. Like, you know how it floats. When I picture Udo Kier, I picture a floating head. So I don't know why. I just always have. Maybe it's because of this film.
It might be his voice as well. He kind of sounds disembodied.
Yeah, I think he is just a bit not androgynous, but robotic.
Slightly ethereal.
Yeah, there's something about him. Apart from being a general sleazy European, as we get in all the films. Again, like the last one we watched with him in.
Oh Christ! Yeah,
it was
it was the last minute. He was the photographer with the girdle.
Yeah, with the girdle. Yeah. What the fuck?
And his leather trews.
And what's he say? So Johnny says to him, "Have you got a date for the procedure?"
But you see, I think it's the Sheba surgeons, the ones that operate on the cat food. They've changed their quote. It used to be 800,000, but now it's 1.5 million for complete memory recovery.
Yeah.
So we can kind of ascertain at this point that Johnny's at least lost some of his memory.
Yeah. And this is before we even know what the hell the plot is.
Yeah. And I think Udo says to him, if you don't want it all back, the value will come down.
Yeah. And he says, well, I want a full restoration. I could take the silicon out myself. I want the memories back.
And I think he does a little. He gets a bit angry now. He kind of does a little bounce to the front of the bed, and he throws the whoa! And he throws the sheets in his rage.
Yeah.
And I think he says, "If I just wanted the silicon dug out of my back of my brain, I could have gone to Mexico City. I want full restoration."
That's it. So he says, "Well, if you do one more run, Johnny. Did you get that upgrade?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." And then I think he just sort of puts the phone down on him then. I'm not too sure what he says. I think he just says, yeah, I'll do it. I got the upgrade, fine, I'll take this job, because he needs the extra money now.
I think he might hang up on him, or he just kind of walks off, because I think it pings to 10 o'clock in central... Oh, no, he tells him, 10 o'clock central Beijing, don't be late.
This is a big one.
Yeah. And then it cuts to, I think he arrives in the car, doesn't he? And he's walking through the riots in central Beijing. That's
it. There's a big crowd sort of out protesting, picketing, and we've got the text central Beijing that flies about. And he gets out of the car and into the middle of this crowd. And
in his suit and briefcase.
Yeah, looking like someone the protesters would probably set upon.
Yeah, I was worried for him slightly.
Yeah, but again, no
one batted an eyelid.
No one gives a shit.
No one seems to mind. But yeah, it kind of reminded me, it's that thing with the future. There's always a riot. There's always the slums. You know, it's a bit Akira-y. But yeah, he kind of walks through.
Yeah, and what we can see is that they're actually protesting this NAS syndrome, or this disease as they call it, with the signs as inventive as "Stop NAS now." And he makes his way inside the hotel to a great shot of that fish tank.
Oh, it's brilliant because it blows up his head.
Yeah,
and it reminds me of if you remember on Shooting Stars, they did a clip of MasterChef where Vic Reeves just had this big head and he would just float around with carrots on his fingers.
Oh, nice.
So that's what that reminded me. Completely unnecessary. Yeah. But it didn't have to make him look like Asian when it distorted his head.
Well, maybe that was the point. Right?
Maybe.
I'm not too sure. But it's a weird scene that is reminiscent of what's his name? The Romeo and Juliet film.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet.
Well, yes. Who directed Baz Luhrmann? That version where he's sort of. He sees this child the other side and they're kind of gazing at each other. Luckily, it's not as creepy and
that would have been a different film. Johnny Mnemonic goes to prison.
Exactly. But he gets distracted almost immediately and sort of looks around and sees some twins.
Yeah, he gives them a really, really creepy wave.
Yeah.
He kind of, and it's like, oh, stop it.
Yeah.
But then I think he just kind of, I think he turns around and they're gone, basically, as twins are prone to do. They will disappear on you.
Much like The Shining.
Very much like The Shining.
Yeah,
Yes.
1 minute, gone the next.
And I think he walks past a TV which is reporting on the NAS.
Yeah, they're really trying to sort of shoehorn all that in right now to sort of build on the climate or the the social standing that's happening at the time.
I've got some dialogue written down. I'm not sure who says it, but he says, "Snatch back your brain, zombie. Snatch it back and hold it."
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's coming on the TV or there's some.
I think again, it's very much like They Live in terms of it's another like a Splinter Cell or group spouting propaganda against the institution or something.
The rebellion,
which is the Low-Techs.
The Low-Techs. I like that name.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense given the.
But it's not low with a W. It's Lotek.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they dropped the W.
Spelling. We get spelling in the future. In 3 years, we're all fucked. And I agree with that. You look at texting now. I mean,
just be emojis. How dare you lol on my podcast?
It was an ironic lol.
No such thing. But yeah, he kind of
lack of language.
Lack of language.
That's what.
LOL is. Okay, yeah.
Anyway,
there was a Dreamcast game called LOL, which was Lack of Love. Where you played as a tiny little embryo. Anyway, he
right. Okay, he gets paged though. There's a page that goes out, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, and I think he gets called to the lift.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he puts a wire into the back of his head. And I've got to know that he's got very dirty nails.
Yeah. And this is actually the point because there's a TV screen in the lift. And this is where we hear the Low-Techs talking about taking back the brains and being zombies.
Oh, okay.
Because he activates his memory doubler, which was hard
memory
to say
doubler.
for me.
So it just looks like a generic piece of plastic with a screen in it. But I think it flashes up. It says 80 gigs.
80 gig current space.
Yeah. And I've got a note here because I remember getting my first 80 gigabyte hard drive upgrade from my 12 gigabyte.
Yeah.
Oh no, was it? Yes, I went from a 1.2 to a 12, and then all the way up to an 80.
Jesus.
And I'm trying to. What year was this film made? Because I was trying to piece together when these kind of. At what point did that seem like a large amount of capacity?
Yeah.
Because I think it would have been around about 1999, maybe. We were rocking a 80 giga.
Potentially, yeah.
I think this was. It's got a very. We should have really. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but
it wouldn't be long until
seemed a lot more than it seems now. 80 gig is less than my phone kind of thing. So yeah, I mean my phone could probably pilot itself to fucking outer space. I'm not really too sure.
But it wouldn't be too long until 80 gig was nothing, basically. Is what I'm trying to get at.
And he activates his memory doubler.
Which
for those with math skills will probably figure out that's 160 gigabytes now.
Well done, sir.
And
so would that just work if he did run it again? Would he have double again?
I was kind of like, I don't understand how that works. How can you upload software to increase RAM or whatever? You need hardware. Anyway,
we'll find out in 3 years how that works.
Exactly. But he does gets a little error message or a warning there saying, "Warning: do not exceed capacity." It didn't say it like that. I said it like that.
Yeah, and I've got a note that says, "Well, you can't because that's not how storage works."
Yeah, exactly.
It just
yeah.
Fundamentally, we'll breeze over that. They didn't know that. I mean,
into the future.
If that's the thing you're going to pick up on as a negative of the film, you wait till we get to the ending. Anyway, then we cut to one of the hotel rooms, and it's a Chinese man with long hair and Harry Potter glasses.
Oh yeah.
And he says, "The courier is." Oh, I shouldn't do the accent, should I? The courier is late.
But you've missed out one of my favourite worst shots of the movie here. Which
sorry.
is when he's going up through the elevators. You get a shot of the city and these like helicopters searching with searchlights and that. It just looked like production quality. It just looks really bad.
There is a lot of weird CGI going on where it looks like they've just kind of stuck it over the top.
Exactly.
And not kind of accommodated for angles.
It looks kind of like a point and click or something that's a bit, like foreground stuck on the background rather than the scaling's a bit weird. 1995.
1995. Okay, so we're not far off.
Yeah.
Paging Mr. Smith. Paging Mr. Smith. Smith 先生，请接电话。Smith 先生，请接电话。
NAS, the so-called black sheikhs, first identified in 2010 in a small population of Norwegian information work.
Snatch back your brain, zombie. Snatch it back and hold it.
Sorry, technical.
But yeah, we get that shot, and yes, he sort of gets up to the top floor, and we hear that line: "The courier is late."
Yeah, we kind of get a pan around of all the people in the room, and they've all got machine guns. There's one guy in very shiny plastic boots.
Yeah.
This is where he walks in with his briefcase.
Yeah.
And they all point guns at him. Do you want to say the line?
Yeah. He says, "Double cheese and anchovy." And they say, "You are late, Mr. Smith."
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's one of them futuristic hotel rooms that you see quite a lot, where it's not so much a hotel room as more like a small warehouse. So you've got these big beam columns and there's tables. It's really low light, and you've got these lamps. It kind of looks like a sort of downtrodden loft than a hotel room.
Yeah, it looks like the foyer of a less good hotel.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But
Yeah.
up on the 17th floor or whatever. So that's a bit weird. But he comes on and says, you don't look like the usual clients.
We got a little bit just before that where he does a really strange hand gesture. He opens his hand and closes it and goes, "Question." And gestures his closed fist and goes, "Question." But yeah, that's when he says, "You don't look like the kind of people usually work for."
Which is more of a statement than a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think does he go?
I'm sure they say, "We're new."
I think he goes, "No shit."
No shit, yeah.
We approached you through the correct channels. Paid half to Swiss as agent instructed.
Mm-hmm. And I quite like this there. Before he's even made it away from the door, he kind of does this little, and then he's stuck what looks like a bit of C4 to the door, but it turns out to be a motion detector.
Motion detector, yeah. Just a little bit of plastic.
Yeah. Which is quite nice. It basically looks like a power charger or something like that.
But they all kind of flinch like it's going to explode.
Yeah, because it does look like a bomb. But yeah, he puts that on there, and again, does he even? I think he might even just go motion detector by way of explanation.
I don't know. He's just showing off about his toys.
Yeah, but then they start questioning or talking about the deal, and they say we've got 320 gigabytes.
Yeah, how much are you carrying?
Yeah. What's your max? Well, what's your max?
They say how much are you carrying, and he goes 320 gigabytes. But he's lying because that's double. That's double his double.
Yeah.
It's quadruple. So he's a lying gigabyte scumbag.
He's a lying Johnny. And they say what's your max? He's like, don't worry about it.
Oh yeah,
I've got more than enough.
More than adequate.
Yeah. So already bullshit. But I think they even explained to him there. They're like, because you do know it'd be very dangerous to exceed your maximum capacity, don't you?
That's right.
Like,
yeah,
whatever.
Just in case we hadn't got that as viewers yet.
Yeah. But they do explain here that basically they talk about the limit, then they say something that's actually quite incoherent to me. They're like, and then they say the thing is that's dangerous is that the data could leak like it's a fucking fluid.
Synaptic seepage can kill you in 2 or 3 days. Plus the data can be corrupt. And coherent download impossible. Mm-hmm. We don't have a problem with that, okay? I think he says.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's like, just get on with it. The sooner I get started, the sooner I can knock off.
And then I think he hands him. I guess it's money, but it looks like a ticket.
Yeah,
he puts it straight in his pocket.
And then we've got a quick cut here as this is going on to. We see some basically bad guys arrive in the lobby.
It's the Yakuza.
Yeah, I mean you can tell they're all in grey. They're wearing sunglasses at night. They're bad guys.
They've got Uzis.
Yeah. I mean that as well, and a really attractive thumb ring. Apparently,
yeah,
we get a big close up of it, and
it's got a big nail on it. That's how you know it's bad.
Yeah. And as that's going on, we've got Johnny starts assembling this gadget.
He's unpacking his briefcase, and I love this bit
Oh,
because of all the things he takes out are just things that have been lying around. Whoever was making the film. So he gets an old video remote control.
Yeah.
Some super glue.
A Walkman.
A mini disc.
A mini disc before mini discs were invented.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
And he puts the mini disc in like a kind of corner loader spinny thing.
Yeah.
It looks more, and he kind of goes around like a fidget spinner.
Yeah.
He's got a cassette which he clips a battery onto.
Mm-hmm.
What else? And a little Raspberry Pi in a fag packet I've got. By the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, there's so much nice little bits of motherboard and little crazy crap things. I do love that sort of make do and mend idea of technology. Like you could just staple a bunch of shit together and it'd work.
I think that's one of the biggest appeals of Rick and Morty. It's like everything he makes is just I'm going to tear that apart and put that in that, and now it's whatever we want it to be.
Yeah.
I think he's giving one of the Chinese Japanese guys wherever we are, Beijing.
Yeah.
One of them guys' instructions is saying when the count reaches 0, click on 3 frames on the TV. Mm-hmm. They'll meld with the data, and he won't know what they are. But that's the download code.
That's the password for the download. And as that's going on, he starts talking about, well, who's the target, or what's. Oh no, sorry, that's the bad guy. Sorry, it's another shot back to
they're in the lift now.
The bad guys in the lift, and one of them says, "Who's the target?" And he says, "They're scientists, R&D, defectors, basically." So again, they're sort of semi-resistance workers, and that's that. You know, that's a very short cut, and that goes back to him again.
And he's putting on his Oculus Rift at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he goes, "Hit me!"
Ow! Why did you hit me?
He puts his gum shield in.
Yeah. And I quite like this because we get a bit of like jungle music.
It sounds exactly like a 90s PC demo CD.
Yeah.
Because they'd always have these crazy little chip tunes on there.
That's it. And we get shots of like the Tron world or whatever.
Yeah. Zooming through the internet, lots of flat planes and web pages.
Yeah.
Like when they believed that the internet would literally be a virtual building that you'd fly past.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of numbers and words. And it kind of, it reminds me of when, when you see Bill and Ted get stuck when their phone booth is broken, kind of flying through the time rings. Yeah, it's a little bit like that.
Yeah. And as that's going on, he's you can see this influx of data, and he's giving it the whole fidgeting about and convulsing, and he's like, the access code. So they start flicking through the TV and the cartoons, and he's kind of giving it the whole good, I'm in pain.
It's like he's taking the world's most painful poo.
Yeah, which is obviously why he got the Matrix roles. I'm like, oh, you can act like, act like, you can act.
Steady on, Dan.
You can act like information is being pushed into your brain. Oh, I know kung fu.
There is that. No, okay, we'll get to that later.
Okay.
I'm pretty much sure that something like that. Words. A very similar line happens later on in the movie.
Possibly.
But
as that's happening, the baddies get out of the lift. And they're making their way to the room,
Yeah, I noticed at this point you see him take off his VR headset.
Yeah.
But it's got indents in his face, like he's had so many takes on it that he's been wearing it all day.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of believable.
Well, I think, it's because even though that's probably the actual case, is that he's been doing it for 5 hours, and I'm like, come on, could you just act a bit? And he's like, ugh. I feel bad. I like Keanu Reeves.
I love Keanu.
He's just a little bit wooden. So anyway,
don't you hit Keanu Reeves?
I know. He gets up and he needs to go for a shit.
Well, yeah, he goes. I think one of the guys goes, "Was it smooth? Where's the bathroom?"
Speaking of smooth, I need to push out a smoothie. But as he goes into the,
he says, I think it's little bit before that. He says to fax one of the copies of the passcode which is printed out, and then destroy the original.
Yeah, and the passcode is basically like your photo strip.
Yeah,
it's like a strip of three or four frames.
Yeah, you've been to the Christmas party, you've all put a funny hat on in one of those booths.
Yeah.
And you've got to print out. But I think one of the guys he takes the mini disc and burns it on the hob. And the other guy faxes the images to the network.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where Keanu goes into the bathroom and has a little bit of a brain fart.
Yeah.
The first of many brain farts.
Indeed.
But yeah, this is where he does a really weird... I put down finding his centre.
Yeah.
Because he has a nosebleed into a very nice clean sink.
Yeah.
But then he kind of does a weird hand gesture where it's almost like he makes, I don't know what you describe it as, 2 L shapes with his fingers, and just like he's looking through a
screen.
Yeah, like he's trying to visualise a screen in front of him, and does some heavy breathing.
Well, again, it's something reminiscent of Tai Chi or something. It's him focusing his breathing and trying to get over the agony, because we see like this, turmoil in his head, like all this information flashing about, and it's obviously giving him a bit of a migraine and a nosebleed. And as this is happening, I quite liked even the detail on this, that you'd got the sign for the hotel, which is like an N with like a weird sort of ellipsis under it or something, and then that was on the towel. I don't know why. It caught my eye, and I was like, oh, that's some nice detail, that, because they could have just been white towels. They didn't need to be monogrammed, but they were.
Very nice.
Yeah, as he does this sort of Tai Chi kind of thing, we see that the motion sensor starts
going crazy.
And sort of, I don't understand this. He's in the bathroom and he kind of twigs that this is happening, whereas the guy stood right next to it at the door, armed with AKs, are like, oh, I wonder what could be that noise.
Maybe they just thought the beeping meant that it was on.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this is where we get the awesome laser floss.
Laser floss, yeah. Or, electric cheese wire.
Electric cheese wire. I'll go with laser floss.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just cuts a massive hole in the door.
Oh yeah, and they burst in, firing and shooting and cavorting around. And
Everyone gets shot up with these weird-looking sci-fi guns, which
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same ones from later on, but they kind of look like they've got a Pringles tube with the tinfoil still on, strapped to a shotgun.
yeah,
But they're awesome. I always love imaginative weaponry
yeah,
in sci-fi films. But then we have a big bald Richard O'Brien, and he goes into the bathroom.
yeah. Where Johnny immediately knocks him out and delivers a brilliant line. Have you got it?
Oh, next time knock, Baldy.
Yeah, that's it. And that cuts back to they're still scuffling in the main room.
I think a girl jumps on a guy and she gets shot.
Yeah,
And Johnny gets the hand towel rail.
yeah,
And the laser floss guy is going crazy. But he's kind of he's flailing it around willy-nilly. I'd be scared to cut my own face off. He's being very haphazard.
I don't understand how he controls that really.
No,
but
but he hits half of the password as it's being faxed,
yeah.
which cuts it in half.
Oh yeah, because Johnny's got it in his hand, hasn't he? So he's trying to
Oh,
take it
that's
with
right,
him,
yeah.
and the guy goes like, with
Yeah,
it,
yeah, I think
and
he
cuts half of it off.
Yeah, along with a statue, if I remember.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
But Baldy isn't. Baldy didn't knock again, and he's not down. And
there's another tussle with him.
he
Yeah.
has a little bit of a tussle, but
But he uses him as a shield, doesn't he? He sort of like puts him in front of him, and this is where he's like this is where he actually does it. He's got the bald guy and he's using him like a human shield, and that's when his name's Shinji, isn't it?
Shinji,
What's his name?
Dennis Akiyama.
And this is the point where he basically does that, and I don't know if he cuts the guy in half, but this is when he cuts the thing out of his hand.
No, I don't think he cuts that guy in half because I think he comes back into it later.
Oh, the bald guy.
Yeah, the bald-
yeah. I think he does actually. But no, he chops the images in half, and as that happens, Johnny manages to get out.
He just elbows him in the stomach and runs away.
Yeah, and then we see what is it? It's one of the scientists who's still sort of crawling around on the floor, tries to burn these images and burn the rest of the stuff.
But he laser flosses his hand clean off before he can do it.
He does. Yeah,
It's a very good looking little bit of a hand cut offage.
yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be as gory as it was in parts of this film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not particularly gory, but it's more than I expected.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to look that good as well. And he sort of interrogates him immediately. He's like, "Where's he going?"
Where's he taking the data?
Yeah. To which he gets the reply, "Newark."
But then, as Johnny makes his escape, I don't know where he got this disguise from,
I don't know.
but it's brilliant. He's wearing a long overcoat, a wig, and these big glasses, and he looks nothing like him.
No, I was like, is it a bit racist? Because, well, not racist, but culturally inappropriate. Because he has basically tried to make himself look Asian. You know, he's tried to make himself look Japanese or whatever. And I was like, I guess, yeah, okay, why not? Because I mean, he has got that kind of a look about him anyway. Cause
I think he's
like Hawaiian.
He's
or
Hawaiian,
something.
yeah.
So it's that kind of definitely not English, definitely not American kind of. You know, not your average run of the mill sort of thing. So it kind of you'd be forgiven for going, well, maybe he is a bit.
Yeah.
You know.
I think especially when he was younger, he looked more Asian.
Yes, yeah.
Have you ever seen him in that cornflakes advert? He looks very Asian. I think it was the first thing he ever did. He was running around the boardroom eating bowls of cornflakes.
Nice.
But then we cut to Free City of Newark, and we get some rock music.
Yeah.
And this is where we get our scene of any sci-fi film. We get the downtrodden slums.
Yeah.
Complete with a flaming barrel.
Of course, yeah.
Got to have the flaming barrel.
Gotta have the hobo bin fire.
And we get a shot from the back of a plane landing,
Yeah.
which we can assume Johnny is getting off of.
Yeah.
Because he ends up in immigration control, where he inserts what looks like a camera flash card, but it's actually a passport.
Yes. Yeah.
He kind of inserts that into a little machine and it does a scan.
It's a little X-ray scanner, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, no, it scans his brain as well. It's like Smith John implant detected, and then it scans it and he goes dyslexia prosthesis implant government approved.
Yeah.
But then it does detect the synaptic seepage.
It says warning: data leak detected. Neural failure within 24 hours.
Seek medical attention.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Exactly. Welcome to Newark. Yeah.
And then I think he throws whatever his passport in his hand. He throws it into a bin.
Yeah, because it's obviously just bullshit anyway.
And then we cut straight to Farracom Tower.
Pharmacom.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's Takeshi.
It is Takeshi. It's Kitano, isn't it? or just Takeshi from Takeshi's Castle,
Yeah.
or the guy from Battle Royale, however you want to slice it.
Or Zatoichi.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a hell of a lot.
He makes a lot of films. He directs a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, what? No, he does a lot of shit, to be honest with you.
He's the hardest working
Asian in show
I was going
business.
to say
You
Asian.
wanted to say it.
Yeah, okay. You got me.
I know. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that it's one of these guys that, again, no matter what he is, it's kind of like... I'm trying to think of another actor that does the same, but whatever their actual name is, their character has always named it, because either they're probably shit at responding to another name, or... I don't know. You know, I don't know why it happens, but you'll notice. Bad example because it's not. But like Morgan Freeman will always be called Morgan. I don't know, or something like that. I don't fucking know. It wasn't a good example, but there are certain actors where
I think there's quite a few Schwarzenegger films where his name is John.
yeah, his name's John in every single film because he can't he can't respond to more than one thing.
Terminator's John Terminator. He just never says it.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. There are a couple out there, and we'll probably find one along our journeys. But
His name is Takahashi.
yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, they didn't really.
It's almost his real name.
Yeah, exactly. But it.
He's sitting in a massive rich man's office, and it's got like a waterfall in it, like a water feature in the centre.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit Blade Runner-y.
Yeah.
It's one of these kind of waste of space offices where there's nothing in it but space and his desk.
Yeah. And he's currently in a conversation with Shinji, who is obviously like his little bitch or his lackey. And he informs him on the happenings of the hotel room massacre.
Well, they're speaking Japanese at this point as well.
Of course, but do I think we get subs, do we?
We get subs.
Or is
It's because we get a few subs and he says, "Oh, you're late. Give me an update." And he says he gives him his condolences for his loss, but then he goes, "Your Japanese is terrible. Speak to me in English."
Yeah.
And that's when he kind of switches back.
Yeah. And it sort of cuts to the chase where basically Takahashi charges Shinji with returning the head of the mnemonic courier. So
Yeah.
he's like, bring me his head, because obviously he wants whatever information has been implanted there by the scientists. And I'm sure
He kind of has a go at him, saying, "Why don't you tell me sooner?" And he says, "Oh, I didn't want to disturb you in your time of grief."
yeah,
And I think it says Tokyo wants him to recover the stolen data. The whole of Tokyo? I don't know.
I've been charged with recovering the head of the mnemonic courier, cryogenically preserved.
Preserved?
The traders wiped the Farmcom mainframe. If we lose the courier, they've lost the data forever.
If the courier is in Newark, it's my responsibility. You have part of the courier's download code. That's it.
And then he keeps probing him, even though he's clearly grieving. He's like, must be difficult to lose a child. He's like, just let it go, man.
yeah. But obviously we get a little bit of explanation because again it's quite cryptic for the first couple of lines of dialogue. There is like, "Sorry for your loss," and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? So it does turn out that Takahashi's I think it's his daughter.
It's his
in the end,
daughter,
isn't
yeah.
it? Has died, and we don't know why, but that gets explained later.
That gets explained later, yeah.
And he sort of Takahashi says to him something about if Shinji needs to go to Newark,
Yeah.
and it's his
Yeah,
responsibility.
if he's in Newark, it's his responsibility.
That's it.
I think he says, "You have part of the download code to give me," and he throws half the image on the desk. And
Yeah, because he kind of feels a bit hard done by at this point. Shinji's got a bit of a big man syndrome. He's like, "Yeah, well, I know what I'm doing." He's like, "Yeah, I don't care. I'm the boss. Give me the fucking info." And yeah, he stomps off after that and sulks out of the room.
And we should point out at this point that part of the password is a picture of a cartoon. Is it a superhero? It's like a cartoon muscle man, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cartoon, whatever it is. But then that cuts to, we've got...
Johnny in the taxi.
That's it.
In the Johnny cab.
In the Johnny cab, yeah.
And he goes, "Just what's the deal here?"
And obviously he's talking to Ralphie again.
He's talking to Ralphie, who I really like his little screen here because it actually looks worn. He's on a tiny little glass box, again, very Red Dwarf. But the state of the glass on it just reminds me of any phone box.
Or actual taxi, like that partition that's just been covered in sick and had cans thrown at it. And,
it's all rough and scruffed and it's got scratches and blood on it. Yeah. And it's like, that kind of fits.
And again, very reminiscent of The Fifth Element again.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember which came first here, but
Possibly.
definitely some conflicting style being taken from one to the other.
And it's funny because the actual taxi he's in is like an old-fashioned looking taxi.
Yeah.
But it's just got this
they
screen.
haven't gone too far with it. It's not like the Johnny Cab in
Total Recall.
Total Recall with the fucking android, like, hey, would you like that girl? But it's so it's a bit normal like that.
But I think there's a sticker on the side of the taxi which says self-driving taxi. I think.
Yeah,
it's kind of hidden out the way, so it's safe to assume that he's not. No one's driving it, basically.
No. But again, he's talking to Alfie here, and he says, "I'm way overloaded, man. You would not believe how much." And Ralphie says to him, "But you said you got the upgrade, yeah?" And he was like, "Yeah,
I did.
totally."
Don't mention that again, please, Ralphie boy.
And he says, "We need to extract. I've got no other choice." And then I think that Ralphie says we need to extract it. I'll tell the driver where to go. So I'll tell the taxi driver where to bring you to.
And then we see where Ralphie was videoing in from, and he's in a seedy nightclub.
Now, I was a bit like, well, the quality of this video is magnificent. He was so clear because, he's sat in the middle of a fucking nightclub. It's not like he's in his own private booth. He's just at a table upstairs kind of thing.
That's right, he's on a balcony.
They would have been...
with two women next to him kind of looking in. Yeah, we got some very interesting looking women here. I didn't know if one of them was a man.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It definitely is.
Okay, because it's a big black burly man in a miniskirt.
The thing is, he's not so burly, which is the thing. He's quite slim. So you'd be forgiven for thinking it was like a Grace Jones type, just a really tall, skinny.
It's not Venus Williams.
No, but it's the like the makeup. You know how they've like contoured the jaw. You can't really tell you only see him for like that long, so you're like, was it a very unattractive woman or a slightly attractive man? I can't.
I don't know which one's better.
Yeah, neither. But we see these two women hanging off his shoulders,
and we get a very, very strangely dressed woman on stage, which this reminded me of Arena. Yeah, that singing part again, because she's just kind of she's in like a big white, them things you put over the toilet roll.
Yeah,
she's in one of them, and she's not moving, and she's just singing opera music, but not really moving at all.
Again, it's another weird thing that they do in the future, where they're like, all we're going to do is just mash up two genres, so we're going to have death metal plus opera at the same time, and it's going to sound fantastic, and they were wrong.
Everything's got to be a little bit.
Yeah, everything's got to be. And he said a menage then, but why not? Everything's got to be infused. It's got to be like downtown Tokyo infused with something else.
It's
got to be semi-Japanese and
it's
all these styles.
Always Asian infusion.
Yeah,
like them restaurants you get now.
Yeah,
but this is where we get our first shot of. I put it down as Dizzy from Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
because we don't know her name yet, but it's Dina Meyer.
Yeah,
is that
so
right?
she's playing Jane.
Playing Jane.
Jane. And is she talking to Spider at this point? They are in the club together, right? Yeah.
And he looks like he's quite a big, square-looking dude.
Well, it is. It's Henry Rollins.
It's Henry Rollins
from Black Flag and other fame. Because he's done a few things.
I've seen him in. I know I've seen him in things, but I could never put.
I feel like he did some like one of the CSI Miami's or some bullshit like that. Like he was in something.
I mean, let's be honest, we've been in that at some point.
Yeah, just in the background.
But he's got these big square glasses on, which make...
I was cadaver number 3. But they're talking together, and obviously they've tried to make him look geeky despite him being built like a brick shit.
Yeah, his neck is wider than his head.
Yes.
He's got a Chris Redfield going on.
I was going to say he could play him in the movie.
Yeah, he would be really good. But he's got these big square glasses on, which make him look like... remember the old cover for the first Descendants album? Looks a bit like that.
Yeah. Well, he looks like a more burly Eric Clapton. But he's talking to Jane, and he says something about I need to find. No, she's saying I need to find some work, or we need to get some work, and he says, but I want to run some tests on you, or something. You've been having more episodes lately, so we're not really sure what that pertains to at the moment. But she's staring at Udo. Or whatever his name. What's his actual name? Ralphie.
Ralphie, yeah.
She's giving him daggers.
Not off, but we kind of get a shot of all the people that are in this club, and it kind of just looks like a mishmash fancy dress party.
Yeah,
and she's got what looks like a really thin chainmail dress on.
Yeah, she's got her mithril cut off.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, +1.
Yeah.
And she's having a look over, and then we get I think she walks over, but we.
Well, first of all, she's staring at the two women.
That's it, yeah. And one of them looks a lot like David Bowie. It's
Yeah.
got the kind of Ziggy Stardust looking
That's it. It's the
makeup
face
on,
paint.
and the hair. But I noticed at this point, as she starts to walk over, there's some extras in the background, which is these two fat bald men having the most fake wrestle you've ever seen. It's honestly, it's worth going back to have another look. But, it's quite something.
But so she's before she's left out. Actually, she's saying how old these women are, and that they're twice her age. Oh no, she's twice as fast as they are. And they're old, and he says, well, I'm concerned about your nervous system, or something like that. And before he can finish, she's already fucked off. She's already halfway across the dance floor to Ralphie.
Yeah, and then David Bowie kind of leans in, and she goes, "Get out of here, bitch!"
Yeah, and she slams her face onto the table.
Clean into the table, yeah.
It was so nice, I like that.
Your hired muscle aging on you, I think she says.
Getting old, Ralphie.
I could have done you.
Yeah, and I like at this point, because we've got to name them then. So the David Bowie one, her character name is Pretty.
Okay.
Which out of the two of them, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Played by Tracy Tweed. And again, I love this one because it wasn't until I got into the credits that we figured this out. But the other character is called Yo Mama.
Yo Mama.
Of course, why not? And that's played by Falconer Abraham, who I can't see any other links to from there. But he pulls a knife out, and Ralphie kind of goes, "Oh." Calms him down. Take it easy, says Ralphie boy.
And I think this is where we get a bit of explanation of what he is, and she tells him, "You're the best agent for bodyguards in town, and I'm the fastest."
Yeah, I'm younger and faster.
Yeah,
and you're the best agent for bodyguards.
Then he makes her hold out her hand.
Yeah,
and she kind of
goes, "Yeah, fuck."
Yeah, easy. But then she kind of starts giving him this kind of mad, wide-eyed look.
Yeah, and he's like, "Just hold it there. Keep holding it." Yeah.
And she starts getting the shakes.
Yeah.
And he calls her spoilt goods as he turns her arm over.
Cheap implants. Yeah.
She's been jacking up. Maybe better suited for something less physical.
That's it. And Yo Mama pipes in with, "You damaged goods, bitch." I just pissed myself. And she said, one of them says, "Spider-Man jacked you up good."
That's it, yeah. Then she.
Why don't you be a whore instead? I think that's Pretty that says that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get a gig, Ralphie. Then I'm coming back for you.
Yeah.
So she takes her handbag and storms off. And then Ralphie gives a very unnerving tonguing to Pretty.
Yeah, I've put it down as like a lizard kiss because it's kind of like,
it's like, oh, I didn't want to watch that.
No, I didn't. Nobody wanted to see that. But luckily, we get a cut then to the taxi that arrives.
Yeah, it's
Johnny steps out.
It's the 1940s cab, and he turns up in the future scenes from Terminator.
Yeah.
And this is where we see J-Bone. Is it J-Bone?
It is J-Bone, played by Ice-T.
Ice-T.
So what is it with him that he can only have a syllable and one name? I don't really get it. But I like this because not long has it been since I talked words in a weird way that I watched Tank Girl.
Okay.
As the last film I saw Ice-T in, and he looks quite similar, which is weird in terms of in that he's like a fucking kangaroo thing. Which is just weird if you've seen Tank Girl.
I don't think I have seen it.
But he's got the same thing where he's got like, I don't know what you want to call them, dreads or braids or whatever.
They're
all
kind of
just
dreads,
fucking
yeah.
sticking up in the top. So he actually even looks a little bit like that character to me. And what is he doing?
He's looking through his night vision.
He's watching him through binoculars, yeah.
Which are just normal binoculars, but they've stuck like some shit on top.
Yeah, exactly. And somehow that points out, or it's got a scanner in it that points out that Johnny's got this implant. So they kind of twig that. They're like, "Oh, what's going on here?"
Yeah, and he's kind of got I think he's got an anarchy symbol drawn on his head.
Yeah.
And like a sleep mask on his hair, like in his hair.
Yeah.
Like a bandana. So
that's it.
He's fully sort of sci-fi Mad Maxed up.
That's it. And he's got basically like a lackey, or like a guy in training with him, and he sort of says a weird line about suits don't come out here. He's a suit from the city. That's it. He's a suit from the city. Suits don't tend to come out here. And as we see that, Johnny sort of wanders out of the frame,
and he sees a guy in a big hat walking past like a doorway, and he follows him into the sort of slum catacombs.
Yeah. And
someone shouts his name, I think. And he goes, "Johnny." He goes, "Am I?"
Yeah. "You're Johnny?" And he says, "I hope so."
I sure hope so.
He says, "Come here.
We're here to help."
And he does another sticking of the sensor on the door.
Well, yeah, he kind of does it really sly. He's like, "Boop, that's going to go
as
there."
he goes in. Yeah.
Then we see he's a big fat black guy in a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
But as he walks through, it's the bald guy from the hotel room, I believe.
Okay.
And he goes, we've got to stop meeting like this.
Okay. He must give him a smack or something there, I imagine.
Yeah, and at this point
he says, well, no, because the cowboy hats guy's like, come in, we're going to help you.
And he's at the table and he's got this big metal space egg and all these implements.
That's what it is, because he walks in and then we see a guy holding a saw and it's the bald guy, and obviously Keanu goes, Baldy. And it's the guy from before.
But then...
And then he looks at the guy with the cowboy hat and goes, you lied.
You lied. But honestly, his delivery isn't as good as you just did it.
No.
He goes,
you lied.
You lied.
Yeah, and then he knocks him out.
And he takes his sci-fi gun, which looks like one of them, them guns that launch t-shirts.
Yeah.
It looks like one of them. And he gives him a punch in the face and a kick in the stomach.
Yeah, and then Baldy says, time to die. And then weirdly...
I know he goes,
Yeah, he says time to die, and then Johnny just goes, time.
and he pushes his watch.
That's it, exactly. So it kind of makes sense as he does that, and then he detonates what we thought was the sensor, but it was actually C4 this time.
Little Bob blows up the doorway, and he runs off.
Yeah, he legs it.
But Baldy's not dead, and he's like, we got all night, asshole!
Yeah.
But we got J-Bone, which I'm guessing stands for Jawbone.
Well, yeah.
Or Jaffa Cake Bone, I don't know. He's looking down with his little friend.
Yeah. And he does the old, I'll throw a stone over there and he'll think I'm... sorry, that's Johnny, isn't it? He's kind of hiding in the rubble. He does the old, I'll throw a stone over there and they'll think I'm over there. And yeah, Baldy falls for it.
He does, yeah.
But he ends up basically looking up and then shooting J-Bone's mate.
Yeah.
Who then falls.
And Rock falls off, and a very stiff mannequin falls from on the side.
From the window, and then the Baldy walks up to him and sort of does the whole... Manages to turn a whole person over by just kind of loosely kicking him with his foot, which would never happen unless the guy is acting. And obviously he notices that it's not Johnny, it's somebody else. So he walks off to look for him.
And then J-Bone just kind of zip wires down slowly.
Yeah, parasails down the building to go and tend to his already dead mate.
Which you would have thought you would have waited for the Baldy to leave. But
yeah,
no, he turns straight around and goes, you weren't on the menu.
Yeah.
And he goes, I want you to do something for me.
Do?
Yes, say bye.
Yeah. I love the fact that he was confused about the action.
Do?
No, what do you mean, do something?
How dare you?
Fuck you.
Johnny comes to the rescue and clobbers him
and
one.
knocks him out, yeah. As he does that, the guy with the
other guy's back.
Cowboy hat appears behind him, also pointing a gun at him.
He cocks his gun, but luckily, J-Bone went to the Dennis the Menace school of knife throwing and slingshots a knife right in his chest off his wrist.
I like that, yeah. Because I like the note, he shoots him with a knife? Wait, what? But yeah, he's got like a wrist-mounted trebuchet or something like that. And then J-Bone sort of says to him, we're even now. And it's like, okay.
Fair enough.
Who are you? And he says, oh, I'm J-Bone. I run Heaven. And he's like, what? And he's just sort of points off and he's like, I run the low-tech HQ.
Yeah, and it's the New York... Is it New York? Where are we now?
Newark.
Yeah, Newark.
So basically it's a suspension bridge.
It's a suspension bridge, yeah.
And then a quarter of it.
Yeah,
been knocked down either side.
You're Johnny?
Am I?
I sure hope so. Come on in. We're here to help you.
We've got to stop meeting like this.
Baldy.
Doctor, we'll see you now.
You lied.
Yeah.
We get a cool scene where Johnny kind of takes this big rifle and just kind of dismantles it into a nifty little handgun.
Yeah. Because he says you're tooling up for something. Or you're tooling up for a heavy night or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. But it's where he says, oh, well, who are you? He says, oh, I'm in charge of Heaven. And he points off. So Johnny looks into the foreground, looks back, and J-Bone has been to the Batman School of Disappearing.
Yeah, he's gone.
Just fucking off. So he was clearly in the League of Shadows. And then we get a cut to Ralphie in the toilets, I guess?
Yeah, he's having
a
really, really steamy hand wash.
Yeah.
But Johnny jumps him. Do you want to say the line?
Easy as apple pie. What does he say? Easy as what?
No. Does he say that?
He does. He says easy as apple pie.
Oh, but this is where he says that they were They were waiting for me, Ralphie. 2 big, nasty men.
Yeah. That bit. Yeah.
You set me up, my
You set me
friend.
up. And he says, it's not my fault. And at that point, Yo Mama runs in and knocks him, Johnny Spark, the fuck out.
Yeah, he throws him into the toilet partition. He goes, not on the head!
Yeah, Udo's like, tell me you didn't hit him on the head.
because he's Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
Don't hit him on the head. Very bad for synaptic seepage.
Stores his data. So then we get another shot of the club.
And the singer is still going with her...
with the death metal operatics, yeah.
She is bloody awful. But Jane's at the bar and she's having a drink, eyeing up the guards.
Yeah, and so she sees Ralphie, Pretty, and Yo Mama carrying Johnny out of what I thought was the fire exit. I don't know, but it just seems to be a door to somewhere.
Yeah, it was at this point, because there's an exit symbol above a doorway, but I was like, I reckon this might have been an old cinema that they're shooting in. Yeah. Something like that.
Well, that would make sense, actually, yeah.
Kind of for the, a theatre of some sort, anyway.
And she heads up to the barman, who I quite like the cut of his jib.
I like him.
He's got an interesting style, I quite like it. Because he's wearing a two-tone shirt with the arms cut off. He looks too old to be wearing that shit, but he doesn't give a fuck.
He does not care.
I like him. He's a pioneer of the grey hair top knot as well, so... He's right in my camp. I quite like this guy. And braces.
Yeah, got to have braces. Standard barman.
So I don't know what she says, but she's like, give me my usual or give me some shit. I don't know.
Give me my shit.
Give me my shit. That's
and he hands her some rings or like a.
Well, it looks like a whip.
Yeah, like a cable.
It's a cool whip.
Cool whip. And she's off to the bogs. And she goes into one of the. Toilets and climbs up and takes off the ceiling grate.
Yeah.
And she does some top skulking here.
Yep. And then what we're going to is...
So it's Johnny's on a what looks like an operating table now. Oh no, he's lying on like a big black bin bag.
Well, yeah, and we get Ralphie saying, "Oh, he's coming round."
He's like, "How are you feeling?" He says he feels like his brain's going to explode.
Yeah, he's like, "What did they upload? The Library of Congress?" And at that point, we see Shinji turn up out of the shadows.
That's right, and he goes, "Ralphie, you lying sack of shit."
Yeah, and he says, "What? I had to make a deal with the Yakuza.
They made me do it."
Yeah, and he says they're going to take the info and anything it's ever been stored in, which obviously means his head.
He's noggin.
He's noggin.
The Yo Mama empties out like a bin and puts it next to his head on the floor.
Yeah.
He's like, "Can't we talk about this? I have one image of the access code. You have the other two.
Yeah, I can give it to you.
I'll give you the data, and everyone's happy."
And I think it's Shinji who says, "Dead men tell no tales." And they say something about the mnemonic sensors at this point.
Yeah. You don't understand. They just want the data. They want everything that's ever been stored.
So they say that line afterwards, right?
And he goes, less chance of it decaying or anyone going in with mnemonic sensors.
That's it.
This
recover
way,
the data. Yeah.
This way you see dead men can't tell tales.
Nah, we go.
So basically, they're going to preserve it by. Well, if anything, I would have thought it would have decayed quicker if he didn't have a head. That's my opinion. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not.
It's just more portable than looking around a whole corpse, isn't it?
I suppose so.
But at this point, Jane is watching through the roof tiles or the air vent or whatever, and she sort of jumps through.
She breaks down through, but the ceiling grate kind of hits the surgeon straight in the face.
Yeah.
And she kicks the other one.
That's it. But at this point, Yo Mama gets out a flick knife and she sort of puts it to Johnny's throat. She's kind of holding him hostage.
But she's got. Well, this is where we find out what her whippy thing was. Yeah, it's her. I put it as a flexi swashbuckle.
Yeah, it's a pointer stick, really, for doing PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh God, not PowerPoint. Take what you want and leave." Yeah. But yeah, Johnny's kind of lying beneath them, and he's like, "I'll pay you 20 grand." And she's like, "Yeah, 50." And he's like, "Yeah, deal."
Deal. Yeah.
And he kicks Udo in the face, I think. And she cuts the...
But I like this because at this point, Yo Mama's got the knife to his throat and says, "I'll cut his throat." And Jane goes, "So what? The other guy was going to cut his whole head off." Yeah. And that's where we get, I'll pay you 20 grand, I'll give you 50.
That's right, yeah. And then she I think she cuts his fingers off, and she starts kind of squealing on the floor.
Yeah.
Ralphie legs it off.
And there's some random guards running as well. Takes a scalpel to the forehead.
She's very good at knife throwing. There's a lot of knife throwing in this film. Yeah. And she throws a knife straight in the head, which is always realistic.
Yeah.
Do you think you could throw a knife with such force that it would get through the human skull?
I mean, probably not. It would definitely pierce the skin.
It would definitely ping off and go, ooh.
Yeah, it would not be enjoyable.
It's the Austin Powers Who Throws a Shoe sort of.
Honestly, come on.
Really hurt.
But there's a bit of a scuffle here. Somehow Johnny manages to find a gun from somewhere. I'm not too
I think
sure
it's
who
just on the
drops it.
floor.
But Jane is at this point beating the absolute living shit
Oh
out
god,
of
yeah.
Mother.
That's what I've got. She
It's
beats,
pretty. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, she's beating up the white bird quite well, actually, is
Yeah.
my note, because I didn't have her name down.
And I quite like it because, yeah, obviously Johnny's like, come on. And she's still going, he's like, time to go!
Time to go! But this is what I don't understand, because Johnny's got the gun.
Yeah.
He's
I'll
holding
just
up...
kill them all now.
Well, yeah, he's holding up the surgeon and Shinji.
Yeah.
And Ralphie, I think.
Ralphie,
oh,
yeah.
it might be Ralphie and Shinji.
Yeah.
And they're waiting, and they run off. Now remember, Keanu's got the gun. As soon as they run away, they chase them. He's just going to turn around and blast you.
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic there, but I think
But that's it, yeah. He's kind of still pointing the gun and they're backing away. And Jane sort of stops beating Seven's shades of shit out of Pretty and...
Not so pretty now.
Not so pretty now, I guess that's the irony. And then they run out and sort of close a flimsy gate.
Flimsy gate. But instantly they're in pursuit.
Yeah. As soon as they do that, and Shinji sort of whips the wall with his electric cheese wire, and what's his name? Udo's is kind of like, "Hey, you could have hit me with that." Sounding a bit like Tommy Wiseau. I did not hit her.
By way of...
oh, hey, Mark.
By way of love it.
By way of love it, yeah. So he sort of whips the thing, and the guy's like, "Hey, you could have hit me with that," which is stupid because obviously he turns around and does hit him with that.
Yeah, it just cuts him into 3 clean pieces.
And I like it.
It was awesome.
It's with anything that they do this with as well that I'm always like, oh, come on. Where he gives the pause and he sort of looks at himself and goes, oh, and then his shoulder just
slowly
slides
slide.
off.
Yeah, it happened in 13 Ghosts. It happened in Resident Evil.
Well, it happened in any film where...
I can think of the third one.
Yeah.
Final Destination 2.
Yeah.
Where a fence blows up and just
yeah,
barbed wires the guy and he's like, oh.
I'm dead.
But it is always fun. I like it. I always like it.
It's just nice to see.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's it. And then we get sort of cut there to they're chasing through the alleyways.
They've got guns now.
That's it. And it's Pretty and Shinji who are now in hot pursuit.
Yeah, and they're all
Which is
popping
where I'm
shots.
like, well, look at the oh god, what do you call it? Loyalty. There we go. The loyalty of Pretty now that she's like, okay, fuck it, I work for you now, Mr. Cheese Knife Man.
Johnny's he's firing back, but he runs out of bullets and really dramatically throws his gun into the... He's like, ah, I'm going to get rid of that now. Throws it into the rubbish.
Yeah.
Then they do... and this is the point where they do the X-Files run. I don't know if you remember this bit. It's the exact same shot, right? It's them running towards the camera, it's dark, and there's like...
smoke and...
It's smoke, but it's even at the same off angle, and they're kind of running... And I'm like, that is the exact same shot. Someone's going to get sued.
Yeah. And they kind of run into more slums, like a homeless ghetto kind of thing.
And I think we see some different goths looking down from the slums, and they give it the old, the old audio symbol.
Yeah.
And the baddies approach, but we kind of hear some animal sounds, so
yeah,
you can tell the slum boys are all communicating with each other.
That's it. And there's a bit here where there's a kid with like a little slingshot. And
there's a small boy.
Cocks it and aims it at Shinji, who then pulls his gun on him. And like a mass of ghillie snipers, homeless people just appear from fucking nowhere.
Bows and arrows and guns.
Everything, yeah, fully toting guns. And they point that at the intruders, and what we see is it's sort of J-Bone and his crew. Their entourage turns up out of nowhere. Yeah.
But and then we got all the Shinji's Goonies come from somewhere as well. So it's kind of like a bit of a standoff. Yeah. But J-Bone just goes, the back door!
Yeah.
And then they run off. And then they go down a drain, which isn't the back door.
Well, it's relative to what doors are.
I suppose. It's where everything that comes out of your back door ends up.
Yeah, exactly. And as they're doing that, Shinji says to them, you low-techs will regret this. Cool.
And he goes, we'll find you again. Count on it.
It will happen.
It will definitely happen for the last act of the movie.
Yeah, we need a climax, so come on. And as that's happening, obviously, John and Jane are going through the underground sewers or tracks or whatever.
It's a bit of calm now. They have the chance to have a little bit of a chat. And he's like, I have to get online. I need have to be someone I can talk to square this.
Yeah. And she says what she basically says why they're after you. And he tells her about the 80 gigabyte of storage that was doubled and how he's got too much in there now, and basically blames them for all of it. Like, it's all, oh shit, I need to get out, it's all fucked, it's all ruined, sort of thing.
But then the thing, she gets a bit bored of his explanation. She's like, right, time I see the colour, and meaning the colour of money.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, right, if you just point me the way out of here and give me an account number, I'll wire it to you. And she's like, what the fuck, I ain't got an account.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who do you think I am?
And to me, I was like, not even PayPal.
Not even PayPal. Not even that in 3 years' time.
And she's like, I'm on you
It's all
till
this
you
Bitcoin. He said.
I'm on you till you pay, mister.
That's it. And she sort of, I think she's looking to get through an access grate or something like that. And she kind of turns around and sort of accidentally shines the torch in his face, and he starts freaking out.
Yeah, and he gets like a flashback, doesn't he? Or he gets like a flash into the internet, and
it's that process because of the data leak that's occurring or whatever.
And then she kind of runs over to him with her flashlight and looks at his eyeball, which looks fine.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Oh, you look fucked up severely."
Yeah, severely fucked up.
But he's grabbing his
to
head.
shine the light in his eyes. He's like, "It's the light, epileptic." So that's a bit of a weird cut. And then we get another cut then back to Takahashi in his office.
He's changing his shirt.
Yeah,
from one crisp white shirt to another.
Mm-hmm.
But we see he's got a big dragon tattoo.
A big. Well, he's going to be Yakuza, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's basically got, I don't know whether it's like a hologram or a moving picture frame, which is like footage of his daughter.
Yeah, I think it's just one of them little TVs. But then it gets interrupted by basically Holly from Red Dwarf.
Yes, yeah.
Disembodied head comes on.
And because she even says now, she talks about how the Yakuza, know how he's weak now. She's like, they know your weakness now.
Yeah, they know you've lost your purpose in life.
Yeah.
And you've become a risk to them.
Yeah.
Take a good look at the errand boy who wants the courier's head.
Yeah.
You must neutralise him, Hakatashi.
Yeah.
Takahashi?
Takahashi.
I wrote it. Oh, that racist autocorrect. They're listening. They are everywhere.
Yeah. And so she's basically saying, they're all out to get you. And she says to him, the courier will give you a new purpose. And she says, I was Pharmacom. They're listening, and he goes and turns it off. He's had enough. He's like, oh, shut the fuck up. But it's a weird thing because we don't know until we get further into it that she's. I thought she was someone that worked in his, like she was a secretary or a thing, or
or an advisor or something.
Yeah, but she's a completely separate entity to that. And then it cuts to what we see is, I think it's like a dream state, isn't it, where Johnny's kind of
it's
going in and out of consciousness. Or
it's
something.
him as a child. We can assume playing in like a private school by the look of it.
Yeah,
but it's only like for a few minutes, and then it kind of cuts back to in the sewers.
Yeah,
and Jane's got a fibre cloth from somewhere.
Well, she's emptying. She's going through her handbag or whatever.
She's like, oh, it's just my stuff.
And I love it because the contents are like keys, some credits, a pink grenade.
That's it. She's like, yeah, mace, throwing spikes, grenades, everything a girl needs.
Yeah, she actually says the line, and he was like, "Oh, you let me sleep? I'm a dead man if we don't get out of here."
He's like, she was like, yeah, you needed it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you were fucking knackered, mate. And then I think he says something about, do you really think we'd be any safer up there, or we'd be any safer anywhere else than we are right now?
Yeah.
And then she starts talking about how did you get the implant in, or something like that. Like, how do you fit all this shit in your head?
That's right, yeah.
And
Web wire.
That's it, wet wire. And he says, I had to dump a chunk of long-term memory.
Childhood.
Which I'm also using as slang for going to the toilet. And she says, what? Yeah, and he says, my childhood. And she's like, well, come on, what the hell? And he's like, well, maybe I didn't lose anything I wanted to keep.
But that to me suggests that your childhood is around about 80 gigs.
Yeah, no, that's a bit nuts. And I think she starts questioning on him, do you have parents and stuff? Yeah. And he kind of just blanks over. He's like,
no. She goes, you got parents and stuff? And he goes, you got parents and stuff? I think she goes, yeah, once.
Yeah, once.
They haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
I don't think about them too much.
And he completely doesn't care and says, I need a PC.
I think she goes, so what do you think about when you're alone? I think I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need a computer.
That's it.
Pretty accurate delivery as well.
That's it. Yeah, no, to be fair.
But then they just got sort of break into somewhere.
That's it. He kicks down a door, and I love that because she says, where did you learn to do that? He says, I had a summer job breaking and entering. Like, what? Where did you grow up, Keanu?
Brilliant.
And And they get into basically like a warehouse of some sorts.
Yeah, it's PC World storeroom.
It's PC World.
And there's lots of boxes with a T on it, which I can't think what that could stand for. Takahashi Corporation? Could be.
Possibly.
But I like this, of course. Of course I like this bit because
it's full of old tech.
Yeah, well, there's old PC server cases with tech in them, and then you've got an old IBM keyboard, one of those portable little monitors that you always see in the sci-fi films because they always looked futuristic at the time. And there's a giant desk mat with a grid on it.
Yeah.
And the desk is littered with like circuit boards and all sorts of things. And he just kind of slides them all onto the floor and then starts barking orders at Jane.
Get me one of these. And I'm sure he says the words, get me a Thompson iPhone.
Yes.
And I was like...
He does. So I've got it written down.
Yeah.
First of all, we get some 80s Carpenter-esque plinky music. He goes, I need a Silent Logic 60.
Yeah.
A Sogo 7 data plugs. GPL stealth module. One bird's eye translator. I guess that's for fish fingers.
Yeah.
And it goes, and some iPhones.
Yeah, a Thompson iPhone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fuck you, Steve Jobs. So, anyway.
Trademark Johnny Mnemonic.
Exactly. And he's got some of the gorgeous, like, old school, what you'd imagine would be VR gloves thing. I think
and they're kind of made up of squares. Like,
ish.
Yeah,
like, rather than being a full glove like we had in like the old school days, they're kind of like... Let's say if you imagine them as an exoskeleton kind of thing, yeah, there's like a ring on every part of the finger, and then, you know, all that sort
they're
of
kind of partitioned. It's almost like sequins.
Yeah.
But they're awesome, and he gets his briefcase out and pulls out a big old monitor, and that's where he puts the gloves on, and a massive metal visor.
Yes,
it's huge, and this is where we get the first person VR mode.
Yeah.
Password enter. Welcome to BRT Online. Global net selected. What are you doing?
Making a long-distance phone call. Beijing, a hotel.
And what's he doing? He's basically hacking his way to the Beijing hotel.
Yeah, so he's surprisingly on the ball with how VR is now, because he's got his hands in front of him, and as he's moving them, they're moving around the real world. It's like, that's pretty on the money.
This is the thing, is that I think that, again, it's not so much that, you know, technology inspires sci-fi. It's completely the other way around. I mean, we've already got VR and the iPhone from this. So,
yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's exact. You know, it's exactly what the Vive looks like. It is adequate. It's not. I mean, you could have imagined it as like from Star Wars, that bit where he's got the training helmet on. You know, like it could be a full head kind of biker helmet, but no, they've gone for it's just a visor.
It's just a visor,
and then you got the gloves. I mean, hopefully we will get the gloves one day.
We've got to have the gloves one day.
We've got to, because as much as I don't want to do this, my Vive controller keeps turning off. Vive, I paid a lot of money for that HTC, and I've had to take it back to fucking PC World. Bastards.
Where in the world?
Fucking hate PC World.
Maybe you should take it to Takahashi. He'll fix it.
Exactly.
But yeah, anyway, he's flying through the internet, and he tries to make I think he says he's making a long distance phone call.
Yeah.
And it's a Beijing hotel.
That's it.
But
he's trying to access the fax number. What he's trying to do is get to that outgoing fax of the code, or what you want to call it, the access code.
Yeah, he's trying to hack his way in, but we kind of get shots of him doing the hand gestures, and he's doing big fish, little fish cardboard box.
He is, and again, it's very Minority Report. Lots of sliding this, doing this, zooming in, swimming, like whatever he's doing.
It's more understated than the Minority Report ones, but he tries to enter an access code which gets denied, but it gives him an electric shock.
Yeah,
he's like, I was like, you need to take that headset back, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he kind of does a little puzzle.
Yeah,
because it looks like a triangle dial with numbers on, and then he kind of moves the blocks around to make a new triangle, and he goes, access granted.
Yeah.
Then we get some awesome looking kind of 8-bit Master System style schematics of the hotel, and they kind of bend into a 3D plane, and then we get like a rendering of the hotel.
That's it. Yeah. So I love that idea that the information is still representative of the physical building.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's always one of my favourite things to see in a sci-fi film.
And again, if like when my VR does come back and it's fixed, this is the kind of shit I'd like to play.
Yeah.
To actually feel like I'm in the Tron universe, much like the the Ready Player One kind of thing, like not the world they have, but that loading in. It's that I like the idea of. Is that, yes, everything looks like a computer. It doesn't have to look super realistic, but
you just want to feel like you're in it.
Yeah, basically.
You want to be Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, exactly, Lawnmower Man. And as he's doing that, he manages to get into this directory or something and enters a
General
name.
Accounts.
General Accounts. And I love this because the name is Dr. Allcome. And I was like, I've written that down badly. And at this point, Jane's getting really fucking twitchy. She's like, we've got to go.
We get a shot of another guy who's trying to find him, basically.
Yeah,
he's
in a tracker.
Yeah, and he's like, I think Takahashi's giving him orders, and he's like, lower the bandwidth. And I've just got to know, they're just saying technical words at this point.
Well, yeah.
Try and make him sound like it's...
Jane's getting anxious. She's like, we've got to go. And he's like, one more thing.
But then he finds an address. It translates.
That's Dr. Allcome.
Yeah. And it's a Newark copy shop, 1537 Tower Street.
That's it.
And you know what's funny? I looked this up on Google Street View.
Oh, is it actually?
Well, I put 153 Tower Street in, and you know what came up? What? The Coventry Transport Museum.
Ah, how weird.
So there you go.
That's really strange. And at this point, he's still sort of titting about trying to get this information. And we see a shot of the guy who's tracking him, and he says, he's at Crazy Bob's computer shop. Initiate the virus.
That's right, yeah.
And at this point, he's trying to contact someone else. So he's got this information, and he's going to another part of the internet, and he's trying to contact, I don't know, like an information courier or someone else who's like, get off my board, man! You're hot news right now. They're after you. Yeah,
it's quite a weird looking graphic. It's got like a muddy face through like a square tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you're too hot.
And I think his name's Strike or something.
Yeah, you owe me one, Strike. Yeah. I could crash you from here, man.
That's it.
I need to know what's in my head and why the Yakuza are after me.
Yeah. And he says, "What am I holding?" And he says, "You've got a head full of Pharmacon data."
Yeah. And they hide the Yakuza to get it out.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Shit! They put a virus on me!" And you kind of just see his disembodied digital head kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of pulling apart.
Yeah.
And shutting down. Get out of here, man!
Yeah.
And Jane's hurrying him up. She's like, "Come on, they're coming. We've got to go."
Yeah. And I'm sure she uses the hand grenade for some reason.
She throws the pink grenade because she knows they're coming through the door.
Yeah.
But just before they get out of there, Johnny grabs an Info Barn 3000. And that's when she throws her pink grenade.
That's it, yeah.
And she goes, "Watch this." I thought, well, don't watch it because it's going to blow up. Maybe
run the other way.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of a cut there. I don't think we see too much what happens. They kind of escape under the cover of this explosion. And you might see sort of like Shinji and a couple of men sort of pile in. I think
two men run in and then they get blown up straight away. But it cuts back to Takahashi.
That's it. So we're back in Beijing, and I think he's on the speakerphone, and there's a voice that says, "Mr. Shinji has failed to relocate the courier again."
Yeah.
I think he might angrily throw the phone or some bullshit like that. God knows.
I think his tracker was late in locating the courier. He's already departed. Shinji has failed again.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's ratted him out. And this is my next line because I didn't know he was in it.
I didn't do it. Yeah.
I've just put it's Dolph fuck mothering Lundgren as a priest.
Fuck my ring.
Fuck mothering Lundgren. But yeah,
because I quite like this. I don't know whether we see it on sign or in text. It says the Church of Retransfiguration.
Oh, I didn't see that. But yeah, he's kind of dressed up like a priest or a shepherd.
He looks like a crazy Jesus.
He's a crazy Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, he opens a big Bible and it's got a screen in it.
Yeah.
And that's where Takahashi pops in.
I love that because he's like, I need your service.
I need your service. You need someone brought to Jesus. That's exactly what he said.
Brought to Jesus is such a good way of saying that as well from his perspective.
And he holds up a cross, which he realises later is a big knife. It's a big messianic knife. Who is this lost soul? This sinner? It's a courier. If you get me the head in 24 hours, I'll triple the fee. Do not fail me.
I love that. And then there's a cut then straight away to Johnny and Janie.
And he's going for her bag. He's emptying her bag.
Yeah.
And he's got a phone card. He's like, mind if I use this? Mm-hmm. But then he pulls out what I assume is the Infobarn 3000, which is a massive red, oversized plastic phone.
Yeah.
And he uses her card to make I think he rings... what is it called? What's the Farracom, is it?
Pharmacom.
Pharmacom, so I keep writing it down wrong. Pharmacom, with lots of random button pressing. But he rings through to security.
Yes.
And he's like, this is an unlisted number. How did you get it?
Yeah.
Don't like surprises.
Yeah.
He's like, no, and it's a federal offence.
Yeah. And he says, oh yeah, well I've got 320 gigabytes of Pharmacom data in my head. And then he goes, don't even try it. I'm going to be out of here in 30 seconds. Because obviously the guy's going to try and track him.
Yeah.
Or something.
So he's just like, so what do you want? Is like, your data out of my head. That can be arranged. Where? And I think Jane just goes, you're crazy. They'll cut your fucking head off.
Yeah.
You're going to be one dead Johnny.
Well, yeah, you're going to be one dead Johnny. But she says they're going to kill you anyway. Like, even if you get in touch with Pharmacom, they'll kill you.
They'll kill you.
The accuser will kill you, they'll kill you. And he suggests, I don't know how he knows about him, but he suggests going, she must mention something.
Yeah, she goes,
previously.
I know this guy Spider used to be a doctor. He could fix but then she gets cut off because she starts having a weird seizure.
Oh, she has the worst fit.
Lots of thrashing. Yeah, she's trying her best to roll her eyes back, but she just looks like she's looking at her eyebrows.
And this is where, like, another thing where, like, whenever they put in things from the future that are, like, terminology is like the black shakes.
Yeah, Naz, the black shakes.
Like, and he sort of says, Spider can help you. He can help me.
And then he kind of just leaves her by some wrapped up mannequins.
Yeah,
he
he just fucks off.
He's like, well, you're knackered. I'm going, arsehole.
Yeah.
But he's back in the taxi now, and they're back to the slums.
Yeah, they turn up in a random grotty industrial estate.
But it turns out he did take her with him.
Yes, of
and
course.
He drags her out the back, and he rings the doorbell.
And I love that because you get Spider pick up the phone. If you're not invited, fuck off.
It's Jade. She says, you know her.
Yeah. Well, he says she's sick.
Get down here, man. She's sick. And then instantly he's right by the door.
He's in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he takes her in. And he's like, I need to go. He's like, shut up. Hand me the muscle relaxer. And I think he's like, it's all this wet wiring. He's like, it's not the implants that make you sick. It's the information. It's Pharmacom. It's poisoning the airwaves. And he goes on a big anti-tech rant. He's like, it's basically he's saying like everything. He's like, your TVs, everything you've got, they're always broadcasting. They're always got this information that makes you sick. It's got nothing to do with implants.
It's almost the they live again, isn't it? It's the technology is bad. I mean, if they remade it now, it would just be all mobile phones.
Yeah,
mobile phones are making you sick.
Well, Wi-Fi broadcasts, the common cold or some shit like that. They'd say.
Yeah, all this fake digital information is just poison, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he kind of wires her up to, I don't know.
He puts her on like a semi-operating table and
he's
starts
got
plugging
like
her in.
a giant NES cartridge,
Yeah.
which has got like 6 wires going to it, and he puts them like in her brain and stuff. And then we see again 2 of the low techs looking down from a rooftop, and I think he goes, "Here comes a radical human. He'll kill anybody to keep his body full of implants."
Because they're talking about it's J-Bone's crew. They see the street preacher.
Yeah, it's Dolph Lundgren. Yeah.
And he says he does a weird double negative, which I hate. He says he's not got a non-artificial bone in his body. What? So he hasn't got any. Right. Okay. Fine. And he says something about he's got God and technology ass backwards. He thinks that improving himself and putting all these implants in him is going to make him closer to God or something like that. He's
like
improving
that,
himself. I just like it when people say ass backwards. And he says, stay away from him. He's too crazy.
Church of the Retransfiguration. Thank you for calling.
I need your services.
We hold services nightly. You should join us.
A special one.
You need someone brought to Jesus? Or to you?
Only one part? His head.
And who is this lost soul, this sinner unrepentant?
A courier. Last seen at the drone. Name is Johnny. If you get me the head in 24 hours, triple the fee. Go. Do not fail.
And I've got I don't know. Is it back to the?
It's back to Takeshi then.
Is it? It's Takeshi. Yeah, that's right. But then they're talking about who the woman is who keeps popping up on the screen.
It is, yeah. His secretary.
It's Anna Kalman. Kalman died 6 years ago. A ghost in a machine.
But she was integrated in the systems for Pharmacom prior to Morbidity, which I love.
Prior to Morbidity.
So before she snuffed it,
Yeah.
they integrated her into the systems. And she has official status as a person in this form, so she's technically still legally alive.
She's got her citizenship as Data.
As a virtual person.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it is a nice idea.
But then I think we get back to
Spider's shop again.
It's back to Spider, John and Jane.
Yes.
And Johnny is he's setting up these Pharmacom machine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, or he's tinkering around with it because that's where that face comes up again.
That's it. Anna actually appears on it for a split second before Spider sort of interrupts.
He's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Who the fuck are you anyway, Johnny? Johnny who? Just Johnny.
Just Johnny. Just Johnny."
And he just continues to call him Just Johnny. He's like, "Well, Just Johnny."
I love that.
But I think he starts to have a little brain fart now, and you hear that kind of wiry sound like a cheese gratery, and he starts grabbing his head. Ugh!
Yeah, and he sort of looks into him. He's like, "You've got cranial implants, silicone."
Yeah, that's right. No, I think he says, "What's wrong with you?" And he says, "Looks like you got a full service shop here. How are you on brain implants, memory augmentation?"
And he says, "Well, Just Johnny, we don't get a lot of that in Newark."
that's right.
And I think he says, "I got this problem up here," and he's like pointing to his head or something.
And then we get a shot of it's the guy cleaning it's the guy cleaning the floor of the fight from previous.
It's where they were going to operate on him. It's where Shinji was going to cut off his head.
Yeah, it's where Ralphie got cut into 3.
That's it, and it's the bartender.
It's the bartender in his shirt, and Hobo Lundgren walks in. And then he says, "The air and vision they've stumbled in darkness, for all the tables are covered in vomit and filthiness.
Yeah.
So there is no place to be clean."
And the guy's kind of like, "What?" And he starts interrogating him. He starts asking him about Jane, and obviously he probably has got a name, but we didn't manage to find that in the credits. The bartender is kind of like, he doesn't want to be. He's obviously friends with Jane.
Oh, we know he does. He introduces himself. He goes Isaiah, and he goes, "Oh, my name's Hooky."
Right,
and he lifts up his arm. I don't know if he lifts it up to shake his hand,
but
he just grabbed it instead.
And we didn't point this out earlier, but he has actually got some sort of prosthesis or artificial hand. He's got like a mechanical arm.
It's like it's cyborgy. It's Leela from Futurama.
Ish. It's more like he's got a whole robot hand.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
But then this is where we see the big steel sci-fi egg again, which he finally takes the lid off of, and it's full of nitrogen,
just hanging around. Yeah, why not?
And yeah,
he plunges his arm in it and freezes it.
Freezes it, yeah.
And he's still sort of torturing him, saying, "Tell me about it, tell me about it."
The girl who took Ralphie's boy out the back room.
Yeah.
Who is she? And he picks up a pipe. We all know what's going to happen.
Yeah, he shatters his arm with the pipe.
Shatters it good and proper.
He does. And I like it. He's like, "Why did you have to do that?"
I know, because before that he goes, "You expect me to remember half that shit?" And Lundgren gives a brilliant take where he just rolls his eyes like, "Ugh."
And then
here we go.
Yeah.
But
eventually he does round her, and he tells her about Jane and Spider. He's like, this guy Spider works on her, and
she's a wannabe, always hanging around. Her name's
Jane.
Always hanging around. Because he pulls out his crucifix knife.
And then there's a cut. So we assume he's dead, but we don't ever...
Well, I think that's when he threatens him. He's like, "More." And he's like, "One of Spider's jobs."
That's it, yeah.
He goes, "The flesh mechanic, what, implants and shit, no. He used to be a legit doctor."
That's it, yeah. He used to be a legit doctor, but now he makes implants.
And that's when he knives him in the dick.
Yeah. I mean, oh no, he doesn't actually knive him though. He just holds it.
He just holds it.
To his crotch,
I love that. That's always the most threatening thing in any film.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. Knife to the penis. Okay.
Yeah, or could be the biggest, burliest guy kicking the nuts. They always go down.
Yeah. And then again, we don't know. I'd like to think that the bartender's still alive.
I hope so.
Because he didn't really do anything too bad.
No, he was cleaning up.
Yeah, but that makes him an accomplice. So it's kind of like... But anyway.
I suppose he did give her shit.
Yeah. But either way, we get another cut then to...
Back to Spider.
Spider, and Johnny's getting a CAT scan.
Yeah, it's having a strobe effect session.
Yeah. And again, he says to him, "I've got 320 gigabytes in there." He's like... I need it out.
He's like, "There's some serious shoehorning to get that in there. Must hurt like hell."
And I think he asks him about Orcom. He says, "Orcom? Never heard of him, Just Johnny."
And I think Jane wakes up at this point with her boobs out.
Yeah. Does she have the boobs out?
Well, you don't see them. She's.
Oh, she well, I know. I just can't remember if she's.
You see a little bit of side boob from the back when she puts on her chainmail again, which that must chafe the nipple.
It must, yeah. Okay. All right. So fine. He needed to get to her access port.
But
so
I think
she tries to get up and I think Spider says to her, "You need to rest."
and he says, "Good girl, Janie. You brought him to the right place."
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, can you fix him? Don't know he's seepage. I could work on a download."
Yeah.
Fuck the product. I want it out.
I want it out. Yeah. And
that's when we see a bit of side boob.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, he says to her she still needs to rest. He says, "I'll talk to him. I'll talk to them to him." What? But either way, I think they basically say that he can't do it there. He's like, "I don't have the shit to do this here. I haven't got the facilities. We need to go somewhere else."
It's like, "Where is it?" He's like, "Oh, I'll drive you."
And that's it. And then they roll out in this big ass fucking van.
It's the Mystery Machine version of it's a bin lorry, isn't it?
Well, yeah, basically, it's fucking massive. And I like that they're rolling out, and then we get a shot of Dolph just step into the foreground and go, "Halt, sinners!
Halt, sinners!"
And they just run him.
And they just run him straight down.
I really like that. And I can't remember if there's a bit here where Spider kind of clocks him. He's like, "Oh shit, he's bad news."
Maybe, yeah.
I can't remember, but that's a very small little bit there, and they arrive at a hospital.
But we see Lundgren getting up first.
Well, yeah.
He's like, "Oh, that was very nice."
Where did that come from? But yeah, they arrive at what looks to be a hospital in a train station.
Yeah, it's in a train station. You can tell with a big clock, and it's just full of sick people.
Yeah,
and you hear people. Everyone's on drips.
And I love this because as they walk in, like Spider somehow he just grabs a white lab coat.
Oh, he's just wearing it all of a sudden.
Yeah, he just pulls it out of somewhere, and they sort of go in. He's like, "Look at all the suffering. Look at all this," and he immediately gets a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and look, he just turns around and there's like a counter there, and he goes, "Charts doctor."
Yeah. And I like this because they're talking to that about him. They're talking, and he says, "So who's this Dr. Allcome?" He's like, "No, you idiot. It's a code. Dr. Allcome. It means all doctors come here now." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So he's talking about the fax, and he says, "The fax you were sent was meant for us.
Yep.
We're the people whose the data you're meant to be bringing it to. I'm your fucking client." And he's like, "Oh, right, I get it now."
Not so smart now, eh? Just
yeah, exactly. Like he could have told him that ages ago, but never mind.
And he says, "The Naz underground people keep this place going, like me." And he's like, "Yeah, don't be a bigger arsehole than you have to be. Just get on the table."
Yeah.
'Cause he's being all pissy at this point.
He's been a little bitch about it all.
Yeah.
And he starts hooking him up.
Puts a strappy thing on his head.
That's it. And he says something about how we're going to do this with no access code.
Except for one image. 1 out of 3. Can you break the code, Spider? He's like, "If I get lucky."
Yeah, maybe.
But he puts a floppy dick.
He puts a floppy dick in his mouth.
Oh my! Puts a floppy disk in some sort of machine and does some tapping.
Yeah, and it attempts to hack his head.
Yeah. And then we get. I've got a note. There's some woman in the background.
Yeah, who just starts shaking like crazy.
Yeah, but she's like having a really bad fit. But it looks like she's trying to get into a sleeping bag that's too tight.
I've put it down there. It's something like 58 minutes.
I'm glad you noticed it.
Yeah, because I want that to go into something. I mean, I want that to be visible. If anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, it just makes no sense. I was totally distracted.
Yeah, because she was up in the top corner just giving it.
Brilliant. She totally stole that scene.
She did. She stole the whole film, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Spider says that he can get it out. He's like, "How?"
No dice. Well, he says he's going to have to operate.
Yeah, he said a cranial drill, anaesthetic, and a pair of forceps. And I could die too, right?
And he says, "Yeah, but it'll kill you anyway."
You're gonna anyway, mate. Yeah. If I get it out, you'll survive. You might lose motor skills and not be able to remember anything for more than 3 minutes at a time.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're definitely going to die anyway.
Yeah.
And he still doesn't want any part of it. He says, "You don't get it, do you? You're carrying the cure for Naz.
Yeah, basically.
That's what you've got in your head." And he says something about the trial's the proof.
Have I got the?
I'm not too sure, but again, it's these notes that were taken a month ago.
Yeah, I've only got that. He says he starts out by going, Let's talk about what you've got in there and what it's worth to the world.
Well, that's
like you're carrying the cure for nerve attenuation syndrome.
That's it. And he says, "You're going to die anyway. The cure will save millions." Yeah. And they says, "Well, so what if I die?" And he's kind of like, well, "Come on, like."
I think he goes because he turns to Janie and goes, "They could have you straightened out in 3 weeks." And I think that's when he's bitching about, "What if I die?" He's like, "Well, everyone's trying to cut off your head."
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a high chance you're going to die, but if you do this right now, you can literally save millions.
Yeah, and then he mentions, they can take it back to... so they want to cut off your head so they can take it back to Saigon and run it through a quantum interference detector.
Yeah.
But then they would have the cure and we wouldn't.
Yeah.
So basically they want the cure so they can cure everyone in the hospital.
Well, I think it's... Yeah, I mean, obviously the underground resistance want to have it so they can cure it, whereas they're saying if Pharmacom get it back, they're going to basically do what they do these days, have the cure for something, but not sell it. They're going to sell preventatives, or they're going to sell...
It won't be a cure.
Symptoms. They're not going to cure people. They'll only cure the wealthy or whatever.
It's the brown inhaler, not the blue one.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he has a little hissy fit again, and he turns to Jane and goes, "You're supposed to be my bodyguard, bodyguard,
guard my body."
He throws his coat.
Yeah. And at this point, I think it's where Dolph appears, and he's whooping some ass left, right, and centre.
That's right. But before that, we get Spider goes, "You're not walking out of here, not with that cure in your head."
Yeah.
Lol. But yeah, then Dolph, he pushes someone in on a stretcher, and he's got the cross through the chest.
Yeah, I like that. It was a good entrance.
And he grabs Johnny with his shepherd's cane. When Dizzy throws some Jane throws some knives at him. But she gets a punch in the face.
That's it. And so it's Jane and Spider trying to subdue him. And somehow Spider manages to keep him occupied. I think they trade a few blows until...
Well, I think they're doing a pretty good job at kicking the shit out of him. Jane's kicking him in the head.
Yeah.
And I think Spider's like punching him. So they're giving him
that's what I'm saying. They managed to do that. But at this point, somewhere along the line... Dolph does push Jane aside or something. He pushes her out the way, and Spider is still lumping on him, and Jane takes this opportunity to grab Johnny, and they leg it out of there.
Yeah, and Spider shouts, "Get him to Jones, it's his only chance."
Yeah.
And then they hightail it away, and Dolph throws Spider into like one of the stretcher beds.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Who is Jones?"
Yeah. And he starts torturing him.
Yeah, and he goes, he's that guy who fucks your mother.
Yeah, he's great, yeah.
But yeah, he goes to punch him. Spider goes to punch Dolph, but he grabs his arm and puts it up to one of the ceiling lights.
That's it, yeah.
And he pulls out a big old bolt from somewhere and, in Jesus fashion, kind of, nails him to these lights.
Yeah.
And does the same with the second one. But as they're running away, you kind of hear his screams.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't do, because he'd be miles away by now.
Well, yeah. But
they get away in the mystery dumper.
Yeah. And then again, whilst I can't remember if that's a transition afterwards, but Johnny calls the Pharmacom rep from earlier.
Yeah, he's on the big red phone in the van.
That's it, yeah, so he's in the van, yeah.
Yeah, and he calls the rep. But then this is where we actually see that it's actually Takahashi he's talking to.
Yeah.
Because he's manipulating like a android mannequin, but the way he's doing it is that he's got a projected laser grid on his hand, and he's just sock puppeting.
He's sock puppeting his mouth.
He's sock puppeting as he's talking.
I really like that. Yeah.
He's just Kermit the Frog in it the whole time.
So good. Oh, hey, yeah, come over here.
But as soon as they're off the call, he kind of takes his hand away, and the android goes,
yeah,
he's gone.
And then I think again what we get is a vision of Anna again appear the hologram form and say, "He's carrying the cure, Takahashi."
Yeah, he's like, "It's too late. We're running out of time."
Yeah,
he's storing the cure.
And at this point, I'd got the note. Presumably, that's why his daughter died, but we don't know for sure.
Possibly.
And then again, there's another clip, and they arrive. Have put Jane and Johnny arrive at heaven.
It is heaven. It's the bridge,
the low-tech base. Yeah.
And they get out the dumper. I'm going to call it the dumper, the dump truck.
The dump truck.
And Johnny sounds the horn.
Get with me, then I want to get with her. And screw the physical disability. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about the feeling, right?
Johnny at this point, I want to point out, has got a very dirty shirt. He's not pleased.
He's not. And I'm sure there's I've put down a note here, there's an odd conversation between these two grunts.
Yeah, so I've put it's the two roof twats from earlier. And he says, they're kind of sat up in like an abandoned...
Well, they're in heaven.
Car. Yeah, they're up in heaven in like an abandoned...
Oh, yeah.
It looks a bit like the slums from Ready Player One, in like how he hides in the back of that van.
Yeah.
And he says, I told her if she wants to get with me, then I want to get with her. And screw the physical disability.
That's it, yeah.
Know what I'm saying? Because it's all about the feeling.
Yeah. So I was like, usually they're not talking about things like that. So that was way more in depth for two non-plus characters.
I think whoever wrote this film can't write dialogue that isn't related directly to the plot of sci-fi.
Yeah.
But I think Johnny and Jane are having a conversation, and I think he asks her what she thinks if it could really save everybody.
Yeah, because he says something about if it really is the cure, it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah,
but he doesn't know. He's got no way of telling of what's actually in there. And as they're talking about that, obviously the truck pulls up dead under heaven, and one of the grunts says to the other one, "I'm going to drop a bug on Spider." And I was like, well, okay, I get the context of the spider and the bug, but what is he talking about? And at this point,
you drop a bug on the Spider-Man, he says.
That's it, yeah. And I was kind of like, I don't get what he means by that, but he reaches over.
Spider's van.
Well, yeah, but by dropping a bug on Spider, I was like, what does he mean by that? And that's when it's illustrated, because what we see is a flaming VW van, Beetle, just fucking drop.
It ignites from nowhere.
Because the other grunt's like, no, don't do that. We need to talk to J-Bone first. He's like, fuck it, I'm doing it. Go watch me. I'm going to do it. And he does it.
Luckily, he parked in that exact spot.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he blows up the van.
Yeah, but luckily Johnny sort of does the old tackle and gets Jane out of the way.
Yeah, lands on her. Then he's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
I love it because he has his big freak out moment.
This is the best bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we did miss a little bit just before he got blown up, where they were talking about who is it they're going to see? Is it Jacob? Is it Jacob?
Jacob. Oh well, they say they need to talk to J-Bone. So he knows where this guy is, or where the person that's going to help him. He's got the information that they need to find out if Jacob is his name or whatever it is. That he's going to be the one to point them in the right direction now.
Yeah, because there's a bit where he's explaining that he used to be in the Navy. I'm trying to look for my notes now, but I think we can breeze past that because it wasn't.
No, I mean, but whatever they're talking about, they're basically saying that J-Bone has got the information that's going to help us get to the right person who can pull this information out your head and potentially do it in a way that's not going to kill you. But it's at this point where, he loses it because he's just been narrowly missed by being squashed by a VW.
And this is my favourite bit.
Yeah.
Clearly my favourite bit.
Oh, yeah, because he completely loses it and he's like, all my life I've been looking after number one. And I'm just fucking...
Now I'm responsible for the entire fucking world.
Yeah. And she's
that's
like,
if my head doesn't blow up first.
And she says, well, maybe it's not just about you. And he goes a bit Nicolas Cage and goes, I want room service!
Room service! I want a club sandwich! I want a cold Mexican beer and a 10 grand a night hooker!
Yeah, and I want my shirts laundered!
Like they do at the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo.
And
he points at the city and he goes, that's where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
Not down here with the dogs and the garbage and the fucking last month's newspaper blowing back and forth. I've had it with them and I've had it with you and all of this.
Here we go. And like I say, he goes full Cage there. I really liked it.
It's good.
It was the most emotion he shows throughout the entirety of this.
And then he sits
film.
down in such a huff like an annoyed child. Like,
yeah.
And then we just see J-Dog coming down on a little lift behind him.
Yeah, J-Bone descends from heaven. And sort of says, where's Spider? And Jane says, he's dead. And Jane was like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, like he died at the hospital.
Yeah, not in the van.
And he's like, oh, thank God, right, okay. Oh, but he's still dead though, right, okay.
And then Johnny has a brain fart again.
He does, and he just blacks out and collapses.
He starts staggering around. It's not very realistic staggering, I'm going to be honest.
Not particularly. It's one of those, I'm unconscious, but if I just prop my arm around you, you can totally make me walk.
Yeah, that's it.
And they stagger off and they take him up to the bridge.
They go up to
the lift.
They go up to heaven.
That's it. And they go to heaven. And we've got another shot then of Takahashi, who's presumably on his way to the bridge. He's in a helicopter or something?
No, there's a bit before that where we see him getting ready and he puts his sword down on the desk.
Yeah.
And he gets out a big revolver.
Yeah.
And he says, Takahashi, have him meet me at the bridge.
Oh, that's
and he goes,
my
my helicopter? It's on its way, sir.
That's
because then we get the shot of all the crew up in heaven, who kind of look like the cast of Mad Max by way of Clive Barker, and they're all standing around, and Johnny's not looking well, and he's doing his best to try and do his eye-rolling impression.
Yeah.
But people are zip-wiring around, kind of like some sort of urban water world. We kind of reminding me of sort of a very piratey.
Yes.
And they've all got pen on their face.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant! Yes, because it is Jones they're looking for. Yeah, because at this point, I don't know what. Johnny's sort of resting, and he says something about he saw a memory, or he saw a memory of the Jane, or I don't know what he says, but he says something that must be romantic, because they have a little bit of a smooch for no reason.
They do. So he's resting in one of the rooms, and she brings him in a cup of Bovril.
Yeah,
and she's like, "You're okay." He's like, "I almost saw a memory."
Yeah.
And then they have a bit of raunchy kissing, but
it's like his childhood, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a birthday party or some shit like that.
I think we see more of it later. It is a birthday party.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking weird. It's spooky.
Yeah, it is.
But then we get Ice-T comes in.
Yeah, and he says it's time to meet Jones.
Time to meet Jones. And I think he says, "Oh, because they're having a kiss," and he's like, "We've got a room for that."
Yeah.
But then time to meet Jones, and then he's kind of explaining He's explaining heaven. He says, "We've been building heaven straight out of straight up world junk, hauled up here piece by piece.
Yeah.
We work with Spider and people, or anyone who wants to fight the system."
And they make their way into what is the inner sanctum of heaven.
Yeah, it's like heaven is a hardened soul, and then we get this awesome big room with the circle TVs.
Yeah, and it's like a huge column that goes all the way up, and it's all loads of displays and TVs.
Yeah,
and the more I see it, the more I go, God, this is so Matrix. Like, did they not just steal this entire thing?
That is particularly Dark City.
Oh, that bit, yeah.
And no, it is very Matrix. To the point where I thought this could end, the Matrix could start from the point where he wakes up.
Yeah,
but that's a bit later on.
Yeah,
he's like, "This is where we fight back. We steal the pictures from their world, recontextualize it, and spit the shit back at them. Special data, and things that will help people. We broadcast it, go global." The way the Navy got him wired up cuts through encryption like butter. That's where they're talking about Jacob. And he's like, "Codebreaker. Can't wait to meet him."
Yeah. And he said they show here something that you can see, for some reason they've got this, I don't know how they got the fucker up there, but a big dolphin in a box. And he's talking about, he helps to broadcast to the public, and then he goes, "And meet Jones," and he signals to the dolphin, he goes, "He's a fucking fish!"
So, I'd seen this before, but I couldn't really remember it, and I didn't know there was a dolphin in it.
Yeah.
I didn't know Jones was going to be a dolphin. And I have to say, it's not a very good plot point.
I mean, yeah.
But is this where the manatee reference comes from South Park?
Well, again, yeah, potentially.
With the console wars?
You never know.
But I will tell you this, there is a computer game called Time Commando, where you get thrown back through time, and you go through the stages, and at the end, you end up in the future world. And the last boss is you and I think it's a shark or a dolphin, fighting this giant, basically fighting the internet.
Right.
So that must have unfortunately taken a pull from this.
Yeah.
But
he's infuriated that Dr. Jones is a fish.
I mean, I was infuriated that Dr. Jones is a fish.
Shit plot twist, isn't it? But at that point, Johnny becomes like frozen to the spot in a way.
It's because the dolphin Jones is like, "No, fuck you! Look what I can do."
Yeah,
and just zaps him one.
Yeah, and it's some form of like beam or something, and it's sort of like a tractor beam or whatever. It freezes him to the spot. I think J Bone says he's a friend and he's a mammal.
That's it, yeah.
Like, fuck you, buddy.
And he goes, he was set up to sample software from enemy submarines.
That's it.
But then we get Takahashi's arriving in his. I think he's arrived now. And everyone else is coming in cars.
Yeah, he starts turning up, and J Bone's still talking about he's set up for enemy submarine scans. He uses infrared sound to look right through the hull.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is funny that he doesn't detect Takahashi turning up or anything.
I know. Yeah. But then we see their kind of squad are all getting ready. They're putting on suits and tiny helmets, and we see someone get a bazooka out, or like a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And for a dramatic effect, we're back in heaven, and a massive chair comes down from the ceiling because it can't just be on the floor.
It couldn't just be there the entire time.
No, it's got to be hoisted up in the rafters, and it's got a huge VR headset on this time. This is a big one.
Oh, this is a prop. This is the full gear. And J Bone says to him, Jones is going to give you the code. He's going to help you find it.
I think he says he will teach you the can opener code.
Yeah.
Get you out on time.
That's it.
Very Matrixy.
Yeah.
He goes, "Have you done this before? Has the fish?"
Has the fish? And he sort of says, "Sit still or we'll microwave your frontal lobe." I like that. And he's like, "You've got a chance." And he says, "Okay, give me the code," or something like that.
Something like that. But it cuts back to the guards are moving in now. The squad, and they've got these little grappling hooks, and they slowly start to zip wire up, Batman style.
Yeah,
and I quite like that shot. It looked dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he puts the helmet on. Dolphin starts whining, lots of flapping around and bubbles. But he's now in the web, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you're zooming around the interweb and you see loads of stuff, and they're decrypting it, and you can see these random flashes of the images and the data and stuff like that. And something like they start to set up a broadcast antenna as well. As this is going in the background, like you can see.
It's getting ready for the download of what's in his head to broadcast it out.
That's it.
And while this is going on, we get the SWAT team who are coming in, and there's two guys. It's the two guys on the bridge again, yes. And it's Shinji.
Yeah.
And he gets out his electric floss and just completely chops his head clean off.
Oh yeah.
And again, the other guy gets a knife thrown at him. Lots of throwing knives in the future.
Yeah. And what I quite like is that he as this guy dies, he again.
He leans on the lever,
which drops another bug onto all the bad guys below.
Another flaming car comes down. Perfect accuracy.
And at this point, Takahashi is arriving via helicopter.
That's
so
right,
he's actually starting to touch down as this is going.
You see him running along, but then we see.
I've got down Echo the VR Dolphin.
Yes.
And Neo.
That's exactly it, and they're like flying around the net, having a nice time.
Yeah, exactly. Is he on his back or something? I don't know. But you actually see them in VR, like flying around.
I think is this where you actually see what Johnny looks like in VR? Or is that later on where we get this really weird N64 GoldenEye representation of his body?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's now. I think he is actually riding the dolphin in VR or something like that, or they're both flying hand in hand or some bullshit like they're
having a lovely adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, because obviously the bug exploded outside, there's a woman outside and she goes, "Motherfuckers!"
Yeah,
and she just picks up the rocket. Yeah. And she fires a rocket straight at Heaven. Yeah. Which the whole set just moves Star Trek style.
Yeah,
and it throws Johnny out the chair. Yeah. And I can't help but wonder if that chair didn't come down from the ceiling, he might not have fallen out of it.
Yeah. And I like this because it interrupts the process, and I think it's J-Bone who says, "There's only one way now. We haven't got enough time to put you back in there. You're going to have to hack your own brain."
That's right.
Like, what?
But then he kind of realises that they're being intruded, and he goes, "Fuel tanks!"
Yeah.
Shit, it's the Yakuza. But yeah, he goes down, and I think the woman with the rocket launcher, she keeps pelting the building.
She does, but somehow I think he gets a crossbow from somewhere.
Yeah, J-Bone's got his crossbow, and
he takes her out.
Does it right in the face.
Yep.
And there's a bit of a crossbow battle going on indoors with the SWAT team.
Yeah.
And this is where I think we see Takahashi running in.
That's it. He's come to claim the whopping 320 gigabytes of data.
Yeah, and he gets it out his revolver, and then Jane just slowly gambols away, and he misses every time.
Yeah.
But he's like, Johnny's like...
does the old Dark Souls roll.
That's exactly it. Maybe put that in.
Yeah.
I won't.
Well.
But yeah, she gets away, and Johnny's like, "You can't shoot me." And he's like, "Not in the head."
Not in the head, yeah.
But then
You've got a lot of other places to be shot.
But he pulls out his sword. But then that's where the TV comes on, and it's
the whole central column lights up. And in a weird way, I think it does that thing. It looks like, is it Zorg from Power Rangers or whatever?
Yeah.
Instead of it being on every TV, all the TVs make a hologram.
Yeah, they project it,
which it could never do.
Somehow it looks like again to go back to South Park.
Yeah,
it's the super best friend.
Make me macaroni pictures. Yeah.
Seaman. Okay, Seaman.
Yeah. But yeah, we see Anna's face appear.
And she goes, "Takahashi!"
And that's it, Zordon from Power Rangers.
That's it. I think she's like, "Do you know what this man is carrying in his head? He is carrying the cure for Naz. Your daughter died to protect Pharmacom's project margins. Treating the disease is far more profitable than curing it.
Yeah.
They had the cure 8 months ago. Pharmacom, the company I created, let your daughter die."
That's it. They sacrificed her to save their profit margins.
Basically, yeah.
And it was more... and again, much like what I believe happens in these days, it's more profitable to treat than to cure.
Yeah, because once it's cured, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So you make no money.
Takahashi! Do you know what this man is carrying in his head? He's carrying the cure for NAS. Your daughter died to protect Pharmacom's profit margin. Treating the disease is far more profitable than curing it. They had the cure 8 months ago, Takahashi. Pharmacom, the company that I created. Let your daughter die.
But he doesn't like that. He doesn't want to admit that that's the case, and he swipes the cables with his sword.
Mm-hmm. and he sort of turns to face Johnny, but he's actually shot in the back.
He's shot in the back about 8 times by Shinji,
Yeah.
who's betrayed him, and he's got Jane.
That's it. And does Takahashi pick up the sword then or something? Because I've got a bit of text here where it says "Raise your chin, let's make this clean." So he's going to cut his head off.
I know, because he's got his
he's talking about his thing.
He's got his floss.
Yeah.
But she managed to break. She breaks free and beats up one of the guards, and Johnny kind of scrambles away. Does his signature? I'm going to go and hide now.
Yeah.
And she is beating the shit out of a guard with a pipe.
Yeah.
And I think more people storm in to help, and they just get mowed down.
Yeah. And something, I don't know whether there's more RPGs or what's going on, but things start to explode at that point.
I think everything's just breaking down systematically. And Johnny's cornered at this point. I think he's on like a rickety bridge, maybe.
They're kind of in like a storage container, kind of, because obviously heaven is made up of all these suspended storage containers, and that kind of half falls so that it's anchored at one end, so they're sort of like holding on.
Oh, that's
all falls.
That's in a little bit. So at first he's got Johnny cornered on this rickety bridge, and he kind of stamps through the bridge and falls in, and that's where they go into the cargo crate, and it tips Uncharted style.
Yeah.
And he's hanging onto the packing webbing, whatever it's called, the giant beer can holder.
Yeah.
And yeah, Shinji falls through as well, and they're kind of both holding onto the door. He's like, if I fall, you don't get what's in my head. If I fall, you're fucked.
You're fucked, yeah. And he starts sort of reaching for Shinji's ring.
Yeah, that's right. They're having a bit of a fist fight whilst holding onto this storage netting. I don't know what it is. It's to hold cargo.
Yeah, it's cargo netting. Yeah.
Cargo netting. But yeah, they're both kind of reaching for...
They're both trying to get it first. And somehow Johnny manages to get there quickly, and he whips Shinji's head off.
Clean off.
Yeah. To which his headless body then falls to the water below.
Sploosh.
Boosh. Which is weird, considering they were above land before.
Well, they are on a bridge.
They are on a bridge, but it is on land. So where they are, directly above, it's only like 2 stanchions and then the bridge.
Well, I think
but he somehow, either he goes to the side, goes well off to the side. I don't understand.
Maybe.
I
think they might have.
I was a bit like, that's a bit of a pothole for me.
They might have pulled it just into the water and water. I don't know.
I don't know. But either way,
but then
we get to see then Jane sort of get to her feet. And she is immediately, I don't know how he got there, but attacked by Dolph.
Yeah, I completely forgot about him at this point.
Exactly, we all had.
Yeah, he grabs Jane by the neck, and there's some fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Another one of my favourite bits is there's a guy just kind of looking around, and a guy zip wires in, and just kicks him with both legs into a terminal, and he gets electrocuted.
Yeah. Yeah, because we see shots of like the other low-techs fighting and fighting the guards and shit.
There's a little war in heaven going on, but then Johnny's kind of stalking around, and he sees Takahashi, who I think
he's stopped in his tracks because the sword is right at his neck.
Yeah,
but then Takahashi's holding the sword, but he's still dying quite a bit because he's been shot a couple of more times than 50 Cent.
But then he in his last one good faith gesture, he gives him the other part of the password.
That's it. He gives him the code.
Then just collapse down.
Yeah.
Jane's still having a tussle with the Dolph at this point.
Yeah.
But he takes out another long nail, and I didn't know. I assume he'd already pierced one of her hands then at this point, because I think she pulls one out later. But he's going to pierce another one.
I think it's the same one, but yeah, he pins her by one hand, but
and he shouts,
Johnny interrupts.
"Where we go? Come to Jesus!
Come to Jesus!"
And Johnny knocks him down.
That's it.
But yeah, because he's changed outfits now. He's wearing like this big red robe.
Yeah. And he sort of pushes Johnny down, and he says, "You're at the mercy of the Lord, while I am His wrath."
Yeah, the cure has made you the vessel of his mercy, as I'm the vessel of his wrath.
That's it.
But then she kind of lunges towards this tiny little satellite dish, which she aligns with another one. Effectively, I reckon he must make a microwave.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the same disc that got Johnny when he insulted the dolphin.
Yeah.
So what she does is she repositions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And she aims it. I've got at the Dolph.
At the Dolph.
Not the dolphin.
Not the Dolph.
That could have been very confusing.
Very easy to make that mistake.
And I've got here, and the porpoise with a purpose blasts him with this ultrasonic waves or whatever it is, and Johnny and Dolph is kind of staggered by this, And it's at this point where Johnny manages to grab a cable.
It's a big, massive electric cable, I think, that Takahashi cuts.
Oh no, it's not. It's not actually him. It's Dolph sort of grabs it. I think he grabs
grabs
the cable
one,
for balance.
He grabs one, and then Johnny kind of runs past him and throws him the other one, and he grabs onto it.
Yeah, for some reason, which obviously completes a circuit, and the electricity goes all the way through him.
And he bursts into quite astonishing flame.
He does.
Very good looking.
I mean, yeah, his body is getting incinerated there as well, and it's looking a bit charred up.
But he just falls down in complete cinder.
Yeah,
he's done.
And I like that because Jane's injured but okay, and J-Bone enters to see Dolph on the floor and she goes, "Piece of shit,
piece of shit." And then Johnny goes, "Hook me up." The second image. Yeah. And he's like, "Get the power up."
Yeah. And he prepares to strap into the chair again. And as the power goes up or whatever, Zordon, Anna rather, appears.
That's right. Yes, the big head.
Yeah. And I think someone says there, she says, the dolphin will take you to find the third image.
That's right, yeah. It'll take you into the data, find the third image. I know their secrets. Too much the company has forgotten.
That's it. They're erasing me from the mainframe.
That's it.
One memory at a time. So I think someone says, I think it's J-Bone says, we've got to loop it through Jones.
Yeah. He goes, "You ready?" He goes, "Loop it."
Loop it. Yeah. But he says that, something about be careful, there may be viruses in there.
That's right, yeah, because they're trying to shut her down.
Yeah.
And this is where we get a little speech that J-Bone makes to the TV. He's like, "Listen up, world. This is the last blast from Low-Tech headquarters. We're going to go out with a bang, baby. So get your VCRs ready. We've got what you need. The cure for Naz. Coming at you, Low-Tech style."
That's it. And that's when he goes, "Hit me." Yeah. And then they boot Johnny back into the Matrix.
In he goes.
And it goes full Tron. And that's it. He goes, this is the really reboot thing because, we actually see Johnny's avatar now.
Yeah, it's the 3D render, which looks like one of the characters from GoldenEye on the N64. He looks... He's basically made up about 4 polygons and has really bad texture stretched around him.
Yeah.
But
and we see him copy himself, don't we, or something? He makes a copy of himself, and he says, and as he's doing that, we hear J-Bone or someone say, "Remember, you've got to hack your own brain."
That's right, yeah. So I think the first he goes in, because he's going into his own brain, isn't he, at this point? Yeah. He's like, "Intruder alert," and he goes into a pipe.
Yeah.
Then he kind of gets... He kind of shoots up and it breaks into shards.
Yeah.
And that's where he's stood on like a ledge and he makes a duplicate of himself underneath himself.
That's it.
So the virus can launch into... The duplicate.
Yeah, exactly. So he's made a decoy.
Yeah, and there's this giant kind of pendulum-looking, I don't know, it was just like a hexagon with a light in the middle, and then all these lasers come around it, and they shatter the one image.
Yeah.
And then the dolphin comes in. And then he kind of just reaches into the flat plane. It's all such strange graphics, it's very hard to explain, because it doesn't make sense. But then he kind of pulls out this weird watery graphic from it.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of bends into it, and you realise it's Anna. It's her face.
Which I think is a bit silly.
Yeah.
Because she's right there. He's got 2 images in his mind. If the third image would trigger it without him knowing whether it was that image or not, he's already seen it. So
That's
he
true.
should have just been able to go, "Oh, fuck, it's there. Oh, bang."
We're seeing you all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he kind of nuts it. He gives it a headbutt, and then the third password code pings up on the machine, goes ding.
And then that's it. Instant stream of all the data gets released, and we see that being displayed to the public in the streets, and they're getting all this data come up and
that's
all the findings,
initiating the download.
That's it.
I think it's like a big giant matrix looking brain. I say matrix as in a network kind of style.
Yeah.
And up goes the data, and it broadcasts the cure.
That's it.
But it's weird because when you see the cure on the telly, it doesn't make any sense. It's all,
of course not. It's just fucking binary.
It's like images on the left of like cellular, telescopic cellular things breaking down, and then like these hieroglyphs, and everyone watching it's like, I get it. People from all around the world as well.
Yeah.
And the dolphin looks happy.
Yeah.
He's flapping his tail in the water.
He's splashing about.
As it says, download complete.
That's it. But we get a couple of shots there of things going on. We see something like a tricycle.
Yeah, it's a small bike that comes through like a white wall.
That's it. And then we see shots of what is Johnny's 7th birthday, by the looks of things.
Yeah.
And he has a bit of a turbulent time there, and he kind of slumps out the headgear.
Falls out the headset, yeah.
And obviously Jane freaks out and she runs up to attend to him, but he's pretty much okay, and they have a bit of a hug.
They have a little cuddle, don't they? How nice. And then I think they go They go to the edge of the bridge and have a little look out, and we can see Pharmacom Tower is on fire.
It's on flame.
I'm not sure why.
I'm not too sure. No, I guess the public have burnt it because of the scandal.
Must have.
And J-Bone comes out with the line, "It's payback time."
Payback time.
And then we see a really concerning shot as Zombie Lundgren stirs.
I love this bit.
And Jane looks on in shock. And then we realise it's just being hoisted up.
Yeah, and it goes, "It's just garbage. Get that out of here."
And they
just
chuck it
throw him into the sea.
That's it. It's just garbage.
Sploosh.
And it's, thrown into the water below.
And I think is that the end of the movie? Do we get a kiss?
We get a little bit. We get some intense looks between Johnny and Jane as the Pharmacom building is burning in the background.
And the burning building again, like the helicopters earlier, it's not superimposed very well.
Yeah,
it looks dreadful. But yeah, and there we go, and then fade to black.
Yeah, and then we get a bit of fade to black and some grunge music.
Oh yes, for good measure,
in the typical '90s style. I'm sure it's
Ace of Base.
Can't remember. I think they're called something like Strapping Westward or something like that. I'm sure it's. I think the song was Nothing by Strapping Westward.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. But yeah, that's it. Fade to black, and that's pretty much it.
Charlie! They were waiting for me, Ralphie. Two big, nasty men.
Johnny, please, let me explain. Johnny!
You set me up, my friend.
Johnny, it's not my fault. There's been a screw-up.
You're dead. You don't get this batch of product out of my head.
Shit. Not on that.
I don't know what to make of it, really. I don't particularly remember it being such a big thing at the time when it came out.
No, again, this wasn't something I remember watching in 95 or whatever. I think I would have watched this midway through 2000, like sort of a couple of years later when The Matrix came out, and obviously we'd already known Keanu from things like Bill and Ted, etc.
Point Break, yeah.
Point Break, yeah. I mean, I still haven't watched that film yet.
Very good.
I'm sure it is.
It's got Gary Busey in it.
Gary Busey, fucking hell. Oh, of course, isn't he his dad?
No, he's his
or his partner. He's his partner. That's it. Yeah. Because isn't Michael Black Rain?
Michael Jai White?
No, Black Rain.
Oh, Black Rain. Oh, Michael Douglas.
Yeah. I'm sure Michael Douglas is in it as well.
No, it's
maybe I'm thinking of some other.
No, it's Roadhouse.
Val Kilmer.
No, I wish. What's his name? He's dead now. Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze. That's the one I always get confused with Val Kilmer.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'll lend you on a copy I don't own.
Nice. Well,
again,
I'm still not that desperate. And they remade it anyway.
So. Oh, don't watch that.
No.
But no. Anyway, we should probably get back to Mnemonic.
Yeah.
I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as I wanted to.
I still enjoy it. I still think it's a good. I'm not going to say a good bit of cinema, but a good bit of entertainment. It's the thing is, it's marred by films that were made after it.
Oh yeah.
So it seems reductive because you're like, oh, it's just the Matrix. Like, no, the Matrix is just Johnny Mnemonic. You're going the wrong way looking.
The Matrix is this is the alpha version of the final product that is the Matrix.
This was the draft. The Matrix was the one they made.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's got its own standalone story in terms of that. It's at the end of the day, it's not really that intense a story. It's just a guy has it's some information that someone else wants. It's a typical.
It's based on a William Gibson short story, and that's. I mean, it shares a lot with Total Recall in a way.
Yeah.
And that was based on a Philip Dick short story.
Right.
So it's kind of one of them short things stretched out to an hour and a half. I wanted Keanu Reeves to be slightly better in it. I think his speech saved it. But some of his delivery, it was like, whoa, how did he get the Matrix gig?
Again, I still don't know, because he is a very wooden actor. I think he's got some good things he has.
I mean, Point Break, he's really good. He actually acts in that. And I love John Wick.
Yeah, I mean
it's wooden, but...
Again, but that's an action film, and yes, he's good in it because he is very good at the physicality. I mean, obviously we saw that in The Matrix. He's really good at pretending to know Kung Fu and all that sort of shit.
About Kung Fu. And eat cornflakes.
Yeah, and eat cornflakes. But I wouldn't want to give him... I wouldn't put him in a Shakespearean thing. I wouldn't expect him to sell it purely based on his ability to sell the dialogue. He is a good physical actor, and he's got something about him, his physical presence.
Oh yeah, he's very watchable.
Yeah. So in this role, I can't think of anyone else that would be any better in this kind of half. I mean, the fact is, he's running on half machinery in his head in a way anyway. So
that is the thing.
It makes sense for him to be a bit cold, and he's not got his childhood memories. So if you look at it from that perspective, yeah, he's going to be a bit clinical. He's going to be
a grown-up dick.
Yeah, exactly.
With no moral compass. Yeah, it's one of them things that he wasn't particularly great in it, but no one else could have played it.
No, I don't
think.
I think it's just, again, if you look back to cinema in the 90s and stuff, there are some really shit films out there in terms of performance. They just don't hold up now. The story will be good and stuff, but I think you've kind of got... They wanted to get away from that stereotypical form of acting, which was being overtly loud, that you'd got from the 50s actors or whatever, just being very over-pronunciated, very
acting,
theatrical.
It's theatre acting.
And they tried to make it a little bit more, let's say, casual, but more realistic. But what they did was made it just dead and empty and soulless.
Because it's the future, it's everyone's... No one... Because you can't act like the present, so you've got to change everyone's personality to go along with the gloomy cyberpunk setting. I like all the technology references in it.
Yeah,
I really like the look of the internet in it. I still wish that's how it was.
I quite liked just seeing people like Udo Kier, Dolph Lundgren, and fucking Henry Rollins all in the same film. I was like, I don't know how I'd pitch that. Like, let's have Ice-T, Henry Rollins, Udo Kier. Like, what film are you making exactly? Yeah. It works. Like, it's the sum of its parts. It works quite well to me. And I think there are, again, maybe it's not. I don't think the effects or the production was bad at all. It looked like quite high budget, realistic.
Oh yeah, all them early computer graphics, that would have took a lot to do.
Yeah, and again, a lot of it looks dated. Like I said, that start bit where we had the helicopters with the
those bits did, but like the shots of inside the internet don't, in a way, because it's they have actually made it, and that's how it. You can't kind of fault that, because it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. You can't fault it because it's made... It's physical. They are going through a 3D polygon world.
Yeah.
It's not made to look like the real world like the CGI was.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not meant to be of the same ilk of, let's say, Ready Player One, where you're like, oh no, they're in a completely virtual, gorgeous, escapism. No. They are in the binary. They are in, the actual technology itself. So it looks, again, more like Reboot than something else.
Yeah, I dig that for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason I enjoyed it, because it does look like a fucking 90s film. It's something that is very of the time. I watch it and go, yeah, well, that's how films were when we were younger. Mm-hmm. So, it makes me happy to watch it. But with any Keanu Reeves film, again, I always enjoy them. I don't think he's ever essentially terrible in them, but he's just not the most emotive of people. Is the thing. So it can seem a bit wooden in some aspects, but I think the overall story is one that is quite translatable in terms of the things that we look at, like, again, They Live, which is, again, a ridiculous portrayal of a social ideal.
Yeah.
So it's over the top, it's overdone. And with this one, it's something that I feel very strongly in terms of these social remarks of, it's treatment over cure.
Oh yeah, I mean,
because that's I believe that's what happens in this society now.
I think it is. I think a lot of the illnesses. I'm not so sure about cancers, maybe, but
I don't know. I mean, it depends what you believe. I've heard lots of things about Indian scientists that claim to have had it and then mysteriously got shot the fuck in the face the next day, and their house was raided. So to me, that doesn't seem like natural causes.
That's it, yeah.
But you hear all these things, and I think that you're more ludicrous if you believe that sort of stuff isn't possible.
Oh god, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what the world runs on, is money.
Why would they want to destroy their market?
Yeah, exactly. Like the pharma companies that make the chemo medication, the dialysis machines, all that shit, they make so much fucking money out of these poor fuckers.
Especially in America as well.
Yeah,
where they don't have the healthcare we do.
Yeah, and I just, I'm always start conspiracy theories there, but I think it's a large part of it, because at the end of the day, we need to cull the population, so not everyone should be saved in a way. But again, yeah, it's that you make more money selling the treatment for the cure, and I think it's that sort of thing that, let's say, like AIDS or anything like that, where they go, well, you know what, we can control a population by having Zika or this, that, and the other. Whereas if we wipe it out altogether and say it is definitely cured, we can't bring it back.
Yep.
Or we can't just go that's done. But if you look at that in comparison to whatever it was it Zika or E. coli? There was like a massive outbreak of something, wasn't there?
What do you mean, the Black Plague?
A year or two ago.
Oh
no, it was something again in Africa.
Ebola.
That's it, the Ebola outbreak, where like hundreds of people died.
And they made a cure pretty quick for that.
Well, yeah, they had, because they already had it. But what I'm saying is there was millions of people that got sick and died overnight, whereas there was one American doctor who had it and then was flown immediately back to the US and cured within a day. So it's kind of like bullshit. It's like, come on, who are you trying to fool here? You probably released that to effectively cull a large slice of the population.
And you do always think about it. I always think about it when you see, maybe not so much the royal family, but people who you know are of wealth and high stature, and they live to be like 102, and it's like, what's the difference between you and a normal person to live to that age?
Well, the other I guess thing is the fact that they haven't done an actual day's work. Their bodies
that
aren't
is
shattered.
true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, in terms of that, like I like that's what the film is saying. It's another harken to, again, it's all like Ready Player One again, in that comparison to the slums, the low techs, the people who don't want to give in to the technology, who don't have the money necessarily to pay for all the new kit and gear, have to live in a shithole. They've got no choice, and it's that kind of thing. Like, yeah, we want to keep the downtrodden so that we can make more money.
But then, at the same token, the downtrodden aren't the ones getting sick, because it's the technology and all the information being lodged into everyone's brain that is giving them the NAS.
But that's it, because they're trying to use that technology as an escapism to not be a part of the horrible world that they're surrounded by. But again, the big companies have found a way to fuck them out of that by giving them these computer viruses or etc.
Yeah, it's a story that doesn't necessarily need to be in a sci-fi setting either. It's a very simple story. You've got a cure for something, and the corporation doesn't want it to get into the public eye.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a strange mishmash of genres. The whole sci-fi medical thing. I mean, it's a submersive point. We often do this. Most all good sci-fi films are not about the fact that it's sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's like an episode of Futurama. Which is where that went wrong, is that it stopped being about the future and just went into generic comedy.
Yeah, well, that's sitcoms for you. But it is, and again, it's very much like The Matrix in a way that it's not about people living in an artificial reality. It's about people being controlled by whatever means necessary. That the government, whether it's The Matrix, whether it's housing, whatever you want to call it, is that the mass populace are always controlled as cattle by the minority.
Yeah.
Which in that case is the machine. So again, they're all just a simile of something else.
It all harks back to 1942 and Big Brother's watching and
1942.
Is it 1942?
No.
In 1942, I invented the shoe. No, what's that book? The very famous. I can't remember. You know the one.
I do, but let's carry on. It's that kind of control, and yeah, I mean, it's regardless of the point there. I think it's still an enjoyable film anyway. Like,
yeah, I mean, from an entertainment value perspective, I think it was it's average. I'd say it wasn't too exciting.
No,
I think the Dolph was slightly underused. But no, I mean, it did have its moments. It did make me laugh a few times as well. That's always a plus. I don't know if I'd watch it again.
I mean, this is, I guess, my second time in my life watching it.
Yeah, I don't remember the first time I ever watched it. I just knew that it existed and that it wasn't meant to be very good.
No,
that's the main things that I remember about it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Like, it is similar to, and it is 1984. Is the...
Or did I say 1942?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the sequel.
It's very much in that ilk of things like that. I was thinking films similar to this would be, not exactly similar, but you've got like Equilibrium, which is all about control through. I think Equilibrium might be the closest we've ever got to a 1984 film, in a way. I don't think we've ever actually had a 1984 film.
I think there was a film of 1980. Yeah, I do believe so.
Seen that.
Yeah, Equilibrium was very much so, because that was being controlled by medication.
Yeah, being controlled by medication, which is very Orwellian, and the restriction of literature and of
anything that stimulates the senses, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, and radical free thought, radical thinking, anything that would lead to an uprising.
Yeah.
All those films have that in common, but I liked this film because, again, it reminded me of the 90s, and it had this moody kind of vibe that reminded me of things like The Crow. I don't know what, it had this angst about it.
It was a bit gothic.
Yeah.
Sort of like, it did have that mood about it. And there's a little hint of hackers in there as well.
Mm.
I mean, I love hackers. But,
of course.
But yeah, it's always the... sci-fi in films is never glamorous, like when it's the look at the future.
Mm.
And when they do try and do that, it's always a bit crap.
Yeah.
Like something like iRobot.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. It just doesn't appeal to me. I like my dirty sci-fi.
Yeah.
I like bare cables, everything duct taped together, open circuit boards on the wall.
There's something about it that just seems authentic, isn't there?
And like all the equipment looks handmade by whoever owns it. Nothing's bought, everything's created. Mm. And that's always way more appealing than look at this smooth white box that does everything.
Exactly, like the cube or whatever. I don't want to see polished white surfaces everywhere. I want to see dirty cables with some sort of fluid dripping off them, you know.
And the guy that's got a camera on his head and he's covered in oil for some reason.
Everyone looks like the Borg, whatever.
Yeah.
I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And then you have things like Existenz, which...
Yeah.
The Cronenberg reference.
Yeah.
Version of that even reference.
Because I was going to say that was going to be one of mine if... I mean, essentially it's not the same film at all. Existence is actually closer to the Matrix in terms of themology, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's more. It's meant to be the game, isn't it?
It's that it's that questioning of, am I still in the game? Am I not in the game? Am I out of it? But I put that down as one of the films to watch that might be similar to, or you might enjoy if you liked, kind of thing.
That one again, because it's Cronenberg, it's more body horror than than Matrix.
And slightly more interesting as well, because it's not such an obvious. I mean the obvious point is this reality? Is this not reality? But the things that happen within it are just like in scene for scene are just more interesting in themselves.
There's no like high tech equipment in it. Like the thing they used to jack in is like an embryo, isn't it? It's like a little living baby thing that plugs into the spine.
Yeah.
And nothing looks too futuristic. It's all just weird, metaphysical. Body parts.
Well, that's it. And then you got the weird chicken
like gristle gun.
Yeah,
I love that gun.
So cool.
He puts his row of teeth in it.
Oh, so mental. But yeah, no, I love that shit. But that would be one of the ones I would say. Maybe Hackers is more is closer to it in terms of story.
Well, Hackers is a film made to explore those kind of computer sci-fi routes, rather than having. I can't even remember what the plot of Hackers is, other than they hack a lot.
Well, yeah, but again, it's
they rollerblade everywhere, which
they
is awesome.
rollerblade everywhere. But again, that is similar to this in terms of they find some information that needs to get out, that needs to be leaked, and they are the warriors to do so. Whereas you've got films like Existence and maybe Lawnmower Man.
I don't remember too much Lawnmower Man, other than the CGI scenes of him in the VR world. He's meant to be a simple man who mows the lawn, and then he
gets. I think he gets struck by lightning or some shit like that.
Well, that's it. The guy next door keeps taking him around and putting him in his VR set that he's making.
Yeah.
But then I think he ends up getting sucked into it somehow and becoming hyper intelligent.
He's
merged with the AI.
Yeah, so it's like Tron. It's like that. I mean, I think this area of sci-fi is quite well covered by a couple of these films.
Yeah.
But again, I really enjoyed it. It's a good bit of time wasting, if nothing else. There's some brilliant lines in there. To cover that, I think my favourite line might be, "They're bad men, Alfie." Ralphie.
Bad men, Ralphie.
Bad men. Or "I want room service."
I think mine is "I want room service."
Yeah.
Piece of shit. It was nice to see Dina Meyer in another film. Or Meyer,
whatever.
Choose your preference.
Yeah, I mean, I like it again. Starship Troopers. She was what I paid most attention to in that film.
She made me dizzy.
Hey.
I think she got killed in that.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
but at least I got to have you.
Oh God, that is actual dialogue.
It is actual dialogue.
Good old Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah. But again, another shoddy sci-fi film that is actually more fun than people let it have credit for.
It's just
sequels can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
The
Oh
first
well.
one
Yeah.
was good.
But yeah, this one I enjoy it, and I like Keanu Reeves and I like all the sci-fi in it. It just seems it's a bit of a weird mix of that, you know, the underlying plot of the pharmaceutical company, which you always need to have a good plot in any setting, doesn't matter where it is, because you could take this and put it in the medieval ages, and they've figured out penicillin or something, and you've got to get a courier on a horse. It's exact same film, but then it kind of it harps a lot on the sci-fi aspects a little bit too much and gets a bit weird a bit, especially with the dolphin.
Yeah.
Where that came from, I don't know.
I think they just needed a twist. They might have got M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong in there, and he was like, "But what if it's the dolphin?" And then that was it. They're like, "Yeah, all right, fine."
Yeah.
But again, that one. I think that when they do that in a film, I think what they're trying to put across is that humanity always thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. You know, it is the pinnacle, and then maybe sometimes it's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably underlining the point that technology and AI has advanced so much that we can make a hyper intelligent dolphin that can be on par with humans in the thought process.
Yeah.
But again, it was just weird. But it comes from an era where every film has like a weird twist at the end.
Yeah.
And a big spectacle. And I suppose that was it.
Yeah, pretty much. So again, yeah, it's.
And he probably did just rip off Echo the Dolphin because that came out in 1993, I think.
Yeah, they probably thought they could sell a few more copies.
Yeah, people loved, and actually, dolphins were really big back then. As silly as that sounds.
Yeah, well, no,
people love dolphins.
You go through phases, don't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think it's probably a good watch to not need to pay too much attention to. It's nice to see the backgrounds, the sets that they've made and stuff are really quite nice. We've got our nice locations like going from Beijing to Newark. But in terms of the how that's Beijing, we've got the sophisticated, glamorous, nice offices that Takahashi has to the rundown, low tech heaven. It's a nice contrast between the two. We've got some interesting characters, really, like the bodyguards, like Yo Mama and Shinji's electric cheese cutter, all that kind of thing. I think there's some nice elements in there that, when brought together, they're all pretty.
Oh yeah,
pretty good, really.
It helps to build a world that's feels legit. I do feel like maybe there was the beginning and the end seemed like the most budget heavy parts of the film. Like there were some parts in between, especially in the slums, where you're just out in a car park now.
Yeah.
And if I could have done with maybe just a little bit less of that and more in there, more sci-fi. I would have happily took more of the internet. Maybe just had a scene where they're in like an internet bar or something, and I think it was missing one more good sci-fi based scene because a lot of it was just running around in the slums and outside in the dark. And sci-fi films always do that when they don't have much budget. It's like, oh, we'll set it in the desert. Because that can be the future, and no one will ever know.
Again, yeah, I mean, because obviously, like where they've chosen for the high-tech headquarters, or where Spider's base is, I imagine are the exact same place, just
probably,
shot from a different angle. But again, they've just gone to a demolition site. They've just previously knocked down building and gone, just throw some CDs and floppy disks around, and it'll look like in a post-apocalyptic world. So fine, we'll do that. But that's I mean, that I guess again, that's to edge the difference between the budget they needed for the CGI shit and the virtual reality shit versus what.
Yeah, and I mean, having said that, at this point in time, sci-fi films they weren't really highly praised. They were B-movies still. I mean,
it wasn't cool, was it? I mean,
no, I mean you had things like Fortress, which I love Fortress. But yeah, I think Matrix was like the first big one, and then even after that, it kind of didn't really find its feet again until things like Inception came along. They don't hold their water too well.
I don't know. I think it's because the sci-fi genre tends to try and be a bit overcomplicated in some senses.
They're always trying a unique idea which will never appeal to everyone.
No, so they're just never going to have mass appeal.
They'll just be their own thing. I think that's the thing that's hard to do with sci-fi, is to try and find a massive audience. There are always little niche things hidden away that appeal to whoever likes them.
And I think, unfortunately, it suffers from sort of like geek syndrome. It's like, I think medieval and sci-fi, people tend to go, oh, you fucking get away with you. Unless Lord of the Rings, no.
Unless it's really good, which is where you get your Game of Thrones.
Of course, but that's because it has tits and stuff in it. So other people can go, no, it's really cool. It's got tits in it.
Did you see that big phallus?
Yeah, exactly. his name's pronounced Faris.
Oh.
Anyway, like in terms of that, but that's what I mean. It's like, you know, it's got to be an action film, a war film, a drama, a comedy, and that's your mass appeal. That's what your jocks and cheerleaders like. Yeah. Whereas the nerds all go, oh, Johnny Mnemonic. It's pronounced with the N, not the M.
Did you see his mini disc?
Exactly.
He's going to break that circuit board if he treads on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think it's always had a bit of a thing like that. You know, sci-fi's tended to always be aliens, UFOs, abductions, whereas now, more recently, it's more about technology. About that sort of thing. Yeah,
it's maybe space has been a different one, because if it's set in space, that's kind of relatable, because we don't really know what space is, whereas the future, you've got to have a pretty strong vision to make a film about the future. It's got to be what's in your head, and if you don't go along with it, you're like, nah, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously what you've got to avoid is the pitfalls of... it's not the Running Man, is it? You know, everyone's in grey lycra jumpsuits. We all wear the same thing. We all scuttle about and get on transports. And,
well, that's the equilibrium effect. But that was the whole point of that. It was parodying itself almost.
Yeah, exactly.
That's worth a watch. I haven't watched that for a while.
Equilibrium. One of Bale's better films, actually.
It was the first film I ever illegally downloaded. Oh no, sorry. Second. The first was Freddy Got Fingered. True story.
Yeah, who would pay to see that?
Yeah.
Me, that's it.
Yeah, well, I got it on video.
Well, you'd have to. You've got the same name as the bugger.
Yeah, shut up.
So anyway, Freddy.
2 more testicles than he has, though.
Yeah. Oh god, Rip Torn, what a nutcase! I love that.
Love that. Yeah, he's so good. Fuck you, daddy.
Fuck me. Anyway, but Johnny Mnemonic, yeah, I would give it. You know, I don't know what my scale is there. 3 sticks of Ram out of 5. You know, I don't know. It's pretty good. It's not mind blowing, but it is good. Yeah.
Ram always comes in pairs, so you'd have it out of 6.
Yeah, but all right, 3 out of 6.
I'll give it 60 gig out of a 180 doubler.
Right, nice. I like it.
No, I'm glad I watched it. I did want to see it again. It's always nice to see Keanu Reeves. I think I've just been spoiled by the current sci-fi, because films are so good now that they don't have to try, and I think this was trying really hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's what shines the most about it.
I think
it's intention rather than its delivery.
Yeah.
That means more, I think.
Yeah. A lot of effort, but again, I think it's as camp and gay as they could have been, but performances from Dolph Lundgren and things like that really helped to bring it all together. A bit of humour that we got from Henry Rollins, Just Johnny, all of that sort of shit.
I was genuinely pleased when
Ice-T was also there.
Is it Ice-T in Ghosts of Mars?
I can't remember Ghost of Mars. He might.
It's Jason Statham, Pam Grier,
Jesus.
Ice-T, and Jessica Chastain. No, not Jessica Chastain. Natasha Henstridge of Species fame. Jessica Chastain. That would have been a different movie. I think that's a Carpenter one that I only seen once, I think.
But I don't know. Again, it had a couple of people that I really like in there, like Takeshi Kitano and stuff like that, and Dina Meyer. Not really seen him much, but really liked him in Starship Troopers.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's done quite well. It's got quite a good cast into it, and you know what? I wasn't bored at any stage.
Oh, I wasn't bored.
Whereas things like Arena were kind of interesting because they were a first-time watch, but I was already like, if I wasn't doing this for a purpose, I wouldn't still be watching.
And it's a completely different experience when you're watching a film to take notes as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a longer process.
Yeah, and this was one of the better ones.
Yeah. I took the most notes on this out of all of them. Because if I enjoy taking the notes, I know I'm enjoying the film.
Yeah, exactly. And again, okay, maybe I won't watch it tomorrow, but you know what? I think maybe in another 2 years or so, I probably will. I'll probably go, fuck it, let's stick it on.
It's hour 40 of just, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. There's some good one-liners.
And if we didn't have it, we probably would never have got Keanu in The Matrix.
Again, yeah, this is what I mean. I don't think it's so much about what the film is in it, some of its parts, but it's what it may have inspired other people to do and what it led to after that. But no, again, one of the better ones we've done, I think. I'm pretty happy with it. I quite enjoy that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It could have been a little bit more entertaining, but I've got no quarrels with it.
No, I think it's a decent example of what 90s filmmaking was like.
I think if I'd have watched it in 1995, and that's the kind of mindset you've always got to kind of apply, I think I would have really liked it.
Yeah,
it
I think it would have been quite crazy to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would have replaced Time Cop as the film I watch regularly, because that is shit.
Yeah.
Time Cop is shit. Sorry, but it's very bad. But yeah, Johnny Mnemonic.
Episode 10, end of season 1.
End of season 1. And I think now I can finally explore that Johnny Mnemonic game I found.
Oh yeah, sure.
Which is not directly related to the movie, but I think related to the short story, but is itself a movie.
Yeah.
That you just interact with. So maybe we should do that one together.
We'll have a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Johnny Mnemonic. Probably got about 80 gigs of audio here.
Oh, nice. I like how that works out. Record it twice and double it.
So yeah, until season 2.
Yeah, until such time.
Ta-ra, Rabbit.
Ta-ra.
What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? You know, all my life, I've been careful to stay in my own corner. Looking out for number one, no complications. Now suddenly, I'm responsible for the entire fucking world. And everybody and his mother is trying to kill me if my head doesn't blow up first.
Maybe it's not just about you anymore.
Listen. You listen to me. You see that city over there? That's where I'm supposed to be. Not down here with the dogs and the garbage and the fucking last month's newspapers blowing back and forth! I've had it with them! I've had it with you! I've had it with all this! I want room service! I want the club sandwich. I want the cold Mexican beer. I want a $10,000 a night hooker. I want my shirts laundered. Like they do at the Imperial Hotel.